Hey guys, what's up? MurderofBirds here. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to another week of Red vs. Blue content. This is going to be my second batch as I am continuing to catch up to the Red vs. Blue series with Season 10. I believe this batch will cover episodes 5, 6, and 7, if I'm not mistaken, based on what Georgia has batched together for me. I finished watching the first 4 episodes, which was so freaking cool. The dynamic, the past, the present, the Delta and Wyoming interacting and seeing more of Delta and getting cool action and music and setup. CT, what's going on with her. We got a little bit of snippets of Charon Industries and the dynamic, I think, of the first 4 episodes. And I mentioned it in my video. By the time you're watching this, you've probably already seen it. But I really do think that the dynamic of the first 4 episodes of Season 10 was better than the entirety of the dynamic for Season 9, based on the fact that the present in Season 10 is just as relevant as the past. The director and his project with his freelancers and his AI and the Alpha and CT and Charon Industries in the past is just as relevant, I think, now with Carolina looking for Epsilon to look for the present day director. We have the real Reds, the real Blues, Washington's in the mix, and there's just a lot of expectations that I have, and there's a lot of things that I kind of went back and did research on. I think the first 4 episodes had me doing more research with like taking notes in my notebook and going back and watching previous episodes and grabbing previous clips from seasons 9, 8, and 7, especially with the Under the Sand episode with the male CT. I'm kind of putting all that together now as I move forward. There's just so much more that I'm looking forward to. I want to see more camaraderie between, the freelancers. We're obviously going to be ramping things up because I believe the second half is where the downward spiral and the inevitable fall of Project Freelancer happens. What becomes of these freelancers? Do we get to see these other AI like Theta and Sigma? Because we haven't even really seen or heard of them since, like, besides getting name drops in the past. Carolina's 2 AI, I wonder and hope if we're going to see the physical, the real manifestations of those AI, not the Epsilon versions, if those ever become a thing in the future. And there's just a lot of things that I'm excited about, The first 4 episodes were fantastic. There was a lot of humor, comedy, the banter was all intact, it was all there, it was all authentic and real from the characters that we've known and loved over the years. Epsilon's identity is kind of like basically defined right now. He goes by Church. And there's just so much to look forward to. I have no idea what these next 3 episodes are going to add, but hopefully it's something that I can then get just as excited and have more to talk about and more to say in the review portion later on in the video. But overall, we're going to jump right into it. Like I said, I love the first 4 episodes. Action, music, plot progression, humor and banter, everything like that intact. I hope that kind of continues as we get further and further in the present day with finding the present day director and also seeing how things take a toll on the characters in the past with with Project Freelancer, with the director and everything else. But episodes 5, 6, and 7, I won't waste any of your time. Let's get into it. All right, guys, we're going to be starting Red vs. Blue Season 10, Episode 5, 6, and 7. Another thing that I do want to mention really quick is that for Season 10, they don't show the title of the episode in the episode anymore. They just say like Episode 5 or Episode 6. So I won't know the names of these episodes until after I watch the reaction. So if there's like anything like to take away from the title, I'll mention that in the review portion, the discussion portion after the reaction. So I just want to let you guys know about that. But this reaction, this batch of episodes should be about 20 minutes. So I hope you guys enjoy. As always, thank you for your support. Leave your thoughts in the comments, and we're going to be starting in 3, 2, 1, now. All right, here we go. Mother of Invention. Yo, they got out of there. Nice. RVB Season 10. Let's go. All right, where are we? Hey, the gang's alive. Wait, what's happening? Freelancer training facility. What are you doing? Hello? Are they looking at his dick?
I expected it to be bigger. You've seen mine.
What the hell are they doing?
Yeah, but he's green. How does that even make sense?
Oh! AI?
Josh, quit staring.
Woo!
You're making it nervous.
Yeah,
Oh! Theta!
they're so small.
No
Small,
way!
yeah.
We're getting Theta!
Besides, you better get used to it. You're gonna have one of your own soon enough.
Epsilon!
Give me a break.
All right, Theta.
Oh,
Come on
South
out.
didn't get
People just want
one!
to say hello to you.
Oh!
I don't know. There's so many of them. And they're so big.
See?
Is he shy?
I'm not the only one who
Is he
decides it's
is he
important.
Alpha
Gonna
Shyness?
let that one go. It's okay, Theta. Friends of mine. For reasons beyond my comprehension.
They're looking at me.
That's because they want to meet you. This is York and Wash.
Hey there, little
Guy?
computer dude.
Give it a rest,
Wait,
Wash.
where's Delta?
Theta?
Can they
A
talk?
friend just like you.
Ah!
Delta.
This is what I want!
Here, you want to say hello to him?
Oh my god, they're like their
It's okay, man.
children.
Just for a second.
Hello,
Delta
Theta.
and
I'm
Theta!
Delta. It is nice to meet you.
Hello.
Everybody here is nice.
Oh!
Isn't that right, Delta?
Agent North, I do not feel qualified to make a judgment about humans with whom I have only limited experience. Also, nice is a rather subjective term for
Oh my god. Okay,
Oh, yes.
Delta, too much
everyone
logic.
here is nice.
Too much logic.
Within standard acceptable deviation.
Oh,
Delta.
look at
That's my sister over there,
Theta!
son. We're twins.
I have a sister.
You do?
Oh?
We have many siblings.
Oh!
Hello, everyone.
All of the AI are
We're ready to
created!
begin our test. Delta, I believe you know the protocol about communicating directly with other AI.
What? They
I
can't do
apologize.
that!
I will log off.
Don't. I want you to help administer the test. Gentlemen,
They don't want them
if you will take
talking
the
to
floor.
because then they'll all know
Okay,
that
just
they're
like we
alpha.
practiced.
Are they all going to watch?
Of course. They want to see if
Oh.
you're as good as I said you were.
Really?
Theta,
Well, I guess that's okay.
I
the
love
spirit.
you so
Come on, let's
much!
do this.
He's like a little kid.
Delta,
I love
expect
it.
you to follow protocol at all times.
We were
Wow.
only attempting to make the new unit more comfortable.
My fault, sir. I asked him to.
They're not allowed to
Maybe
talk
it's
to each
discussion.
other.
Agent North was paired with Theta for a reason.
Yeah,
His
why?
nurturing nature is best suited to care for Theta's unique personality.
He's like really
He's still
shy
looking
and
out for
timid.
people, isn't he?
Is he like shy?
Delta, your skills are more
Logic.
analytical in nature.
Yeah.
I may disagree.
Logic
Theta has
based.
made double the number of declarative statements since my appearance. That indicates a 100% increase in confidence since we modified our interaction strategy. I think that
Okay,
speaks
we
volumes
get
to
it.
my
You're
caring
so
ability.
analytical.
You
You're
make an
proving his
excellent
point.
Delta, let's begin the test.
The counselor too. Whoa, who's training? Yo, it's
Begin the
North
test.
going against his sister? Wait, what are they? Oh, okay, never mind. I thought they were having them fight each other. Oh, the bubble
As you
shield!
may recall, Agent North used his equipment in the field
In the
on
fields!
a previous mission.
He was
And that's
able
why
to
Theta helps
successfully
it.
maintain a deflective shield for 3.4 seconds in order to block an explosive projectile.
This is
And
so
somehow
cool!
managed not to kill himself in the process.
Yeah, because he didn't
The
even have an
maneuver only
AI.
had a 0.1% chance of success, and he performed it 999 more times. I'm rather certain he would have been obliterated on each one.
Yeah.
I'd rather be lucky than good any day.
You usually are.
Luck will only take
Wow.
one so far. I am in the business of getting results.
Yep.
Let's see what
Hey.
Theta can do.
That's his jam.
Reduce shield strength by 50%.
Modify.
Theta, come on, you gotta prove your worth.
Power
Oh,
dropping.
come on, buddy.
Theta, use remaining power to compensate for critical tiles.
Come on. I love it.
Add variable.
Whoa!
Acknowledged.
He is on specific ones. That's so high. That's so
Great
smart.
job, Theta.
Stop talking to me. They must be up.
Right.
Let him focus. Oh. Nice.
Objective now is to eliminate all turrets. Begin.
All right, come on, Theta, back him up.
Both ways. There's no way for him to attack.
Theta, analyze turret rate of fire. Adjust shield to match.
What is he? What part of Alpha is he?
On my mark.
He seems like really smart and rational. Wait, what? What? They can open and close. Oh my god, that's so sick.
All targets eliminated.
Wow.
Excellent work.
Wow.
Wow! Wow!
What?
That was
Yeah,
incredible.
wow.
Yeah, what did I tell you?
Whoa, hold on,
And
hold
we're
on, hold
sure
on.
They don't get
I just
anything.
saw the leaderboard.
Dude,
South
you
is still
are
on the
killing me with
leaderboard.
that.
Holy shit, hold on. I need to go back to that. All right, I have to come back to this thing. Yo, Theta's so cool, dude. Like, he's more like, I don't know. He's kind of like the shy, timid one, but all right, I'm gonna go back to this entire sequence here because this shit is so
Begin the
fucking cool.
test.
So like, Theta's, I don't know if he's shy or if he's like timid or if he's like the scared side of Alpha. But he's like a lot more
As you may
hands-on in the
recall, Agent
field
North used his
than
equipment
like
in the field
than
on a
Delta,
previous
who's more
mission.
analytical at
able
like
to
breaking
successfully
down
maintain
like
a deflective
decision
shield
making
for
and stuff like that.
3.4 seconds in order to block an explosive projectile attack.
And somehow managed not to
And he
kill
did all of
himself
that
in the
without
process.
Theta.
The maneuver only had a
Crazy!
0.1% chance of success, and he performed it 999 more times. I'm rather certain
See, this is where
he would have
Delta
been
excels.
obliterated on each one.
Hey, I'd rather be lucky than good any day.
Yep.
Usually are.
Luck will only take one so far.
Yeah.
I'm in the business of getting results.
Results. Fuck,
Let's see what
director!
Theta can do.
Yo!
Delta,
Oh
reduce
my
shield
God,
strength by
that is
50%.
so fucking
Modified.
cool, man. He is so cool. This is so smart.
Theta, use remaining power to compensate.
Reroutes all the power to 2. Look at that shit.
Add variables.
And they're like
Acknowledge.
flashing on and off, so they're only coming into play when the shots are being fired.
Great job, Theta.
Stop
Wow.
talking to me. You'll mess me up.
Right.
Stop talking to me.
Reset.
He's like a little bottle of like emotions.
Objective now is to eliminate all turrets.
He has like reverse, like look at how much he can do when he has confidence, when he has support.
Theta.
No
Allied
better
turret
person than
ready to fire.
than
Adjust
North.
shield to match.
Okay.
Oh,
Sorry.
Firing on my mark.
oh, so sick. Calculates when to open and close a portion of the shield. AI are so fucking cool, dude. AI are so fucking cool,
Test
man.
complete.
And then you can see in the back, you can see Maine,
Wow.
Washington,
Wow.
Maine,
That was
and South is at the
incredible.
bottom.
Yeah, what did I tell you? And we're sure.
And look,
it'll
right
get
here,
bigger.
she's like, she's noticing,
You
she's
were
like,
killing me with
wow,
that.
my brother gets all this recognition and I don't. That's where it starts.
How come
And I was
every time the Blues
just
get involved
talking
in
about that in my
something stupid and
discussion.
dangerous, we get dragged along too.
You know what
Fuck,
I
dude,
say.
Theta's, yo, I think I like
enemy
Theta
within
more
range of
than
your
Delta
primary
already.
Sir, I
Wow.
realize
You can shoot him.
I realize that we agreed to help Washington, Carolina, but how do we know that they're going to help us? What do you mean?
What do you need help
Into
with?
trouble? Do you really think they'll stick their neck out for us?
Well,
When do you ever get in trouble?
double crossing, no good, dirty, rotten blue. Still too bad.
What a ringing endorsement. I'm more
Yeah.
worried about Carolina. What if after all this is over, she decides to get rid of us? Why would
Yeah.
she do that? I don't know. To
I don't
tie up
know.
loose ends?
No
Cover her
evidence?
trail? Don't you watch spy movies? They love that shit.
My God, man, get a hold of yourself.
I don't know. I think she just wants the director right now.
Hello.
Uh-oh.
Listen, I don't want to hear talk
Caboose,
about
get out.
double crosses or mysterious subplots or freelancer conspiracies anymore. We've had
Do you
enough of
watch
those
my
go on.
videos,
Here it
Sarge?
is.
That's all I do.
Don't you think that... Sorry. I can't really talk right now, Simmons. I've got to go secure a perimeter over at the shady spot over there.
See ya, Mr. Slacker.
I liked it better when we only had to fight you.
Yeah,
Hey.
this team is pretty awesome right now.
Yeah.
Right, Tucker? Right, Church?
Hey, where is everybody? Where the hell is everybody?
Hello.
Oh
Where's the rest
boy.
of your team?
Small talk over here. Carolina, Washington. Oh no! Fuck! That's Tucker. I keep getting mixed up with because of the color. Wait, where did he go? Oh fuck! This is where they fought the meta.
Looking for something?
Leads. Information, anything. You said Maine had been through here, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but that was ages ago.
Then look closely. Don't tell me hanging around these morons has turned you soft.
Hey!
Hey,
Calm down.
that's
Don't call them morons. You don't know them.
Meta was attempting to transfer energy from these turbines.
Yep.
Soon.
Oh my god, this
It
was
the only way
season
he could keep the equipment
6!
running.
Poor Maine.
Yeah.
Carolina, it wasn't your fault.
But it was my AI.
None of us could have known what would
What?
Yeah,
What?
Well, sometimes I'm not so sure.
happen. What?
Oh, because
We
he
were
had
told
her
that
AI
the
at that
was
time.
specifically designed for each of us. North was chosen for Theta. Yours
Yeah.
had Delta.
Delta?
Sigma was mine.
What? What?
You really think the director didn't know what would happen?
Carolina,
I
that's
thought-
ridiculous.
He always had his little experiments. He just forgot to take a few extra variables into account.
And what about now? The whole world thinks you're dead. Do you think he knows you're coming for him?
Yes, I do.
How?
And for once, I look forward to proving him right.
What the fuck?
Director was always hard on you.
Exactly.
He said hard on. Magic jump.
Shut the fuck up, Tucker. This
He
is
was
serious.
hard on all of us.
Oh, come on. You gotta let me have that one.
Stop! Stop
I've got
it!
about 5 positions in mind for her.
Oh
Magic
my
Tucker.
fucking god. Shut up!
You're right. But
my
you have
God.
to admit, he was also pretty hard on himself. That's it. I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Bow, chicka, bow. Oh, CT.
What?
That's what
are
you fucking
doing
get,
here?
Tucker.
Okay, take it easy,
They're having a
Carolina.
serious moment.
Just wanted information. Epsilon? Look, if you two are planning on
Holy
dragging us
shit!
around wherever
Sigma
you want,
was
the least you can
hers?
do is fill
I thought
us
it
in.
was.
I'll fill her in.
I thought it
Now
was
you-
Maine's the whole time.
You and your squad are on a need-to-know basis. And right now, you don't need to know
Anything.
Seriously? Jesus, you're worse than Tex. Okay, that
I
was
mean,
on you. Get out. Fine.
Don't
We're
talk
leaving
about her
already.
past. You think she
Hey,
wants to
Tucker,
hear
you
about
need to
Tex right
leave.
now?
I can't actually do it on my own.
Took her
Carolina,
place.
You gotta calm down.
Don't tell me how to lead my squad, Washington. Now,
Your squad?
sweep the area and report back to me when you're done.
Fuck.
On it, boss.
Fuck off, man.
And as the director
Oh
accurately predicted in his thesis on the subject,
Look at
we
that.
see that cognitive impression modeling can be segregated from the host.
What?
Naturally, this remains an inherently deconstructive process.
Wait, are they telling
Most
about
of all,
what?
the biggest concern of any full
Faces!
AI entity is the prospect of rampancy, which we covered
Whoa!
last week.
AI!
Of course,
AI
our
rampancy!
AI units are
What the
so there's very little chance that a personality subroutine can run off unchecked.
Are there
Maine!
any
Is that Maine in the
Yeah,
back?
I got a question. Why do we need to learn all this stuff?
AI theory is like vehicle maintenance, South. If we're going to use this equipment,
I'm gonna lose my
we
fucking
need
mind.
to know how to care for it.
Oh yeah, like a coffee maker or a vacuum cleaner.
That was rather rude.
That's why
Cry
you
me a
don't get
river,
one.
light bulb.
No, not the same as that.
Well, I don't even have one because someone didn't bring enough to share. So why am I sitting through this elementary classroom bullshit?
I don't have one either,
Oh
South.
my god.
because you gave
You gave yours
He
up.
needed to be able to communicate
gave
after
it
his
to
injury.
Oh yeah, that's the only reason you did it. You're a real hero, Carolina.
Oh
It's
my
not like Maine has
god.
much to say anyway.
Okay, calm the fuck down.
I would like to say just how appreciative the two of us are for Carolina's sacrifice.
Oh
Agent Carolina, if anyone can excel without an AI unit, it is you.
Thank you, Sigma.
And Agent Texas, of course.
So it did
That
become
goes without
his.
saying.
Right.
I noticed she doesn't have to attend class.
Agent Texas doesn't need this training.
What the director is trying to say is that Agent Texas has already completed her AI theory course.
Cause she is an AI.
I think that's enough for today.
If I may, Counselor, I have just one last question.
Oh my god, creativity,
On the
ambition.
different levels of AI awareness and rampancy.
Melancholia, anger,
Specifically, the fourth stage of rampancy.
metastability.
Yes,
Meta!
in which an AI can be considered fully human.
That is only theoretical, Sigma. No AI has ever achieved such a state.
But it is possible.
In theory.
And he will.
Possible.
And he
I find that
will.
very interesting.
And he
Remember, Sigma,
will.
you are not even a full AI. You are what we call a fragment. So something of that magnitude would be even more difficult for
If he
an entity
gets
such as yourself.
all of them.
Well, as the director always says, it is important to have ambition.
Why, yes it is.
Ambition.
Class is dismissed.
Oh my fucking god, my head's gonna explode. My head's literally going to fucking explode. Oh my fucking god! Sigma was the meta! Sigma did all of it! Oh my god! Oh my god, the fucking board! Holy shit! These are all of the other artificial names! I can't see all of them! Like Alpha, Beta. Like, obviously they would close out Alpha and Beta because Alpha is the true one, Tex is the Beta, but then no one knows that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 artificial intelligence, is that right? On the board there? Am I reading that correctly? I can't fucking see it. It's too far. Like, it's blurred out because it's too far to, like, be read clear. Oh my god. Meta stability. Meta. The meta. Main. Meta stability because he becomes a full A. He becomes the closest thing. I'm literally going to fucking die today. I need to go back. I need to go back. I'm just gonna be quiet and... Wyoming's fucking mustache. Okay, I'm gonna be quiet. I need to hear all of
And
this.
as the director accurately predicted in his
So-
thesis on the subject, we see that cognitive impression modeling can be segregated from the host.
Okay.
Naturally, this remains an inherently deconstructive.
This was rampancy. This is what happens to
Most of all, the
Cortana
biggest
in Halo
concern of
4.
any full AI entity is the prospect of rampancy, which we covered
A
last.
full AI. they're not full, they're fragments. So that's why rampancy doesn't happen to them. Like, rampancy is when basically like an AI dies, if I'm not mistaken. AI are not programmed, they're created. Artificial intelligence are created by, okay, it's going through the entire process. So he's not straight up saying, I have this AI that I'm torturing. He's just going through AI specifically. But the counselor mentions here that they're fragments. So is someone here going to put the pieces together and understand that there's a core AI that's being tortured and spliced? Because then that's when Carolina leads for everyone to go and break the alpha out of his imprisonment, out of his torture chamber. And I think this entire sequence is another reason why South doesn't get an AI. She has no type of compassion in her heart to be humble, to be caring like York is. That's why he got someone like Theta, or has the camaraderie like York and Delta do. And Carolina actually had Sigma, but she gave it to Maine because he has no voice, so he needs a way of... So that's another reason why I think Sigma got the best of him. Because it's like, I represent you now because you have no way of communicating. Fuck!
Covered last week.
Of course, our AI units are
My
what we
mind
call
is...
fragments. So there's very little chance that a personality subroutine can run off unchecked.
Yeah, exactly.
Are there any questions?
Fucking hell!
Why do we need to learn all this stuff?
AI theory is like vehicle maintenance, South. If we're going to use this equipment,
You need to know how it
any
works.
equipment, we need to know how to care for it.
Oh yeah, like a coffee
Oh my
maker,
god,
or
yo,
a
I love
vacuum
Theta
cleaner.
already. Holy shit.
That was rather rude.
Oh, cry me a river, light bulb.
No.
Fuck you.
Not the same as that.
Fuck
I don't
you.
even have one because someone didn't bring enough to share. So why am I sitting through this elementary
Nope.
classroom
Nope.
bullshit?
I don't have
No.
one either, South.
Calculated.
because you gave yours to Maine.
He
That's
needed
why
to
you
be able
didn't
to
get one.
communicate after his injury.
Oh yeah, that's the only reason you did it. You're a real hero, Carolina.
Fucking
It's not like
hell,
Maine
man. Look
has
at
much
that.
to say anyway.
He even's like, he's like disappointed. He's embarrassed of his sister.
I would like to say just how appreciative the two of us are for Carolina's sacrifice.
Fucking God.
Agent Carolina, if anyone can excel without an AI unit, it is you.
Thank you.
Wow, and you
And
hear the
Agent Texas,
music?
of course.
Dude.
That goes without saying.
That's literally
I
like the
noticed
metas.
she doesn't have to attend class.
The meta
Agent
scheme.
Texas doesn't need this training.
What the
Fucking
director's trying to
Wyoming's
say is
must-
that
I mean-
Agent Texas has already completed her AI theory coursework.
Wow.
I think that's enough.
This
for
is
today.
If I may,
crazy.
Counselor, I have just one last question.
Oh, come on.
On the different levels of AI
Right here,
awareness
this is how
and
it
rampancy,
starts.
Melancholia,
The meta.
anger,
Specifically, the fourth stage of rampancy.
metastability.
Yes. The meta stage, in which an AI can be considered fully human.
That is only theoretical, Sigma.
Hold on, I need to backtrack. I need to backtrack real quick.
No AI has ever achieved such a
I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Sigma.
I want to
And
read
Agent
what's on the
Texas,
board.
Of course. That goes without saying.
Agent
Right.
Texas.
I noticed she doesn't have to attend class.
Agent Texas.
Because she's an
doesn't need
AI
this
and you
training.
don't know
What the
that.
director's trying to say is that Agent
Fuck,
Texas has
man, this
already
is
completed
heavy.
her AI theory coursework. I think that's enough for today.
If I may, Counselor, I have just one last question.
You little
On
ambitious
the different
fuck.
levels of AI awareness and rampancy.
Melancholia, anger,
Specifically, the fourth stage of rampancy.
metastability.
Metastability. At this time, metastability is considered theoretical. Additional studies must be conducted. And he's the study. The meta it's real. It's true. He's living proof in the future. I can't believe this is like the inkling of what the meta becomes. I'm gonna fucking lose my mind.
Yes. The meta stage, in which an AI can be considered fully human.
That is only theoretical, Sigma. No AI has ever achieved such a state.
But it is possible.
But it's
In
possible.
theory, but
But
possible.
it's
I
possible.
find that very interesting.
remember, Sigma, you are not
Ambition.
even a full AI.
Ambition.
You are what we call a fragment. So something of that magnitude would be even more
And look at him, he's on
difficult for
fucking fire!
an entity such as yourself.
Well, as the director always says, it is important to have ambition.
Why, yes, it is.
So yeah,
Class
basically,
is dismissed.
I could infer that he's creativity and ambition at this point. Fuck! Delta!
Sigma, are
Delta!
you coming?
Yes.
Oh, oh, oh!
Yes.
Wait! Oh! Oh! Oh my god! Yo! I remember in the episode 0 of season 6, when they have like all of those letters forming on the wall and it's like, we are the meta? Is that it right there? Is that what forms? Alpha, beta, gamma, delta, epsilon, zeta. Theta, iota, z? What? Who are these? Kappa, lambda, mu. So they don't get, okay, so there's gamma, delta, epsilon, theta, iota, z, or is that she? Sigma and omega. I'm gonna fucking die!
I will be joining you shortly.
They form and it's like, we are the meta! Oh! Metastability analysis is not exact.
Hey, hi, Caroline. Excuse me.
Fuck!
Have you seen Church lately? Yeah.
Oh my God!
Hang out after we rescued him.
Tell your friends to stay out of my way.
Or else what?
Or else they'll bring out my ugly side.
All right, Carolina, relax. Don't
come
fuck
on,
with
Caroline.
Caboose.
I bet you are really pretty under that armor. What?
She really is, though.
You know, I mean, who hasn't? I mean, I understand there's some helmet hair. We all have helmet hair time to time, but you know. Yes. So, anyways.
She's never met someone like Caboose.
Tell Church and Tucker again.
Stop. Okay.
Just try and put that into words.
Just leave her alone. He literally put it into words.
Might have had the right idea about this Carolina chick. See? I
told you. My God!
This case note also calls me to agree with Griff. Therefore, I will simply grunt ambiguously.
Dude, these AI are the coolest fucking thing I've ever experienced in a freaking show.
This way, we've got to get going.
Crazy, Bernie. Bernie, you're a fucking genius.
To talk to you about that.
You are literally a fucking genius at storytelling.
You mean the mission? Yeah, that. We were thinking, now that we've helped you find Church, we should probably just let you handle the rest. You know,
Oh my
style,
God.
that whole freelancer thing. You're good at that, so you're abandoning the mission.
Red team never abandons the mission. We're just accepting an alternate mission. Never risk.
Less risk. Less is different.
Oh boy, what are they, going AWOL? They're done? They don't want to help?
On what scale?
Well, we haven't been there in ages. Who knows what kind of nefarious...
Donuts there! Donuts alive! Go back home, please!
I guess you're right.
What?
Well, you are wanted criminals of the UNSC.
Oh, that too? They broke into their base.
We're setting up an ambush for you right now.
Oh.
I suppose I can't stop you.
That reverse psychology.
I'm gonna go find Carolina.
See ya.
Good luck.
Yep.
On second thought, you could probably use the extra help.
Yeah, we're sticking with you.
Yeah, got him. Oh my God, that episode was super long. Either that or it's because I rewinded it so many times. Jesus. I'm gonna have so much to talk about. Metastability. Holy shit.
Find anything?
Nothing we didn't already know.
No.
Figured as much.
What can you find?
This was a dead end.
Everyone's gone.
The structure we're going to next. You're positive our target was there.
I know what I saw. That's why it's on our list.
But I know what I saw. And
What?
It doesn't make any sense.
All the more reason to investigate.
Where'd he go?
All right then. Let's go.
Where are we going?
Let's go find CT.
What? Oh, under the sand! Oh my God, CT, did they ever find out she's a traitor? Oh my God, Longshore Shipyard FOB many years ago? Oh, CT's time. Whoa, who's
Director
that?
of Project Freelancer,
Whoa!
Dr. Leonard Smith. Dear Director, allow me to introduce myself. I am a representative of the newly formed UNSC Oversight Subcommittee. Our organization is charged with the protection of high-level assets of the military, one of which recently went missing. These assets are entrusted to our programs as a privilege, not as a right.
Oh
As
my
such,
God, is this
they will be safeguarded with the utmost care. In these dark times, mankind has the opportunity not only to prove his humanity, but to earn it.
Where's CT?
Well,
They're moving in. They're gonna find
Who
her.
else is arriving?
Holy shit!
I look forward to a long,
Who's that?
mutually beneficial relationship for our two departments. Yours truly, Malcolm Hargrove, Assistant to the Oversight Subcommittee.
Malcolm who? Oh, fuck, CT, you're fucked!
Can't believe he trusts that bitch.
You're
What she did to us.
fucked! Oh, they got her. They know she's a traitor.
Command. Tell the director she's here.
Fuck! He knew!
It's nothing. Come on.
She knows! What the fuck is the chairman of the Oversight Subcommittee do? Does he own Charon? Is he in allegiance with these?
Congratulations, Director. Another successful test.
Wow.
A new fragment was harvested this morning, Counselor. Find it a match.
This morning?
Who?
That is ahead of schedule.
Our time grows short. Find it a match.
Epsilon?
Director, Wyoming reported in.
Or is it Iota?
You won't like what he found, sir.
Agent Carolina, information never displeases me.
CT is a traitor.
That I find unforgivable.
Yeah.
Report.
It's like you said.
Yep.
CT is with them.
You know what to do.
What?
I do not need to remind you how valuable our technology is, Carolina.
She doesn't have an AI, sir. And she wasn't exactly the best agent.
CT will be an acceptable loss. But her armor must not fall into the wrong hands.
Her armor!
I understand.
Her armor!
Will we be the only forces sent out on this mission, sir?
Leave personnel decisions to me, Agent. Just do your job.
Fuck!
It's time to cut the head off the enemy once and for all.
Yes, sir.
She's got green eyes. And if she takes this mission, she becomes #1.
So how do you even know this Carolina chick?
Oh
text
my
you to tell me stories. You mean tell?
Fuck, dude. Oh my god. Georgia, you're fucking destroying me with this batch right now. You're literally destroying me with this batch of episodes right now. Holy shit. So they found out it was CT. They said, don't let the armor fall into... And that's what I said in my discussion last week, like, in the last batch. I was like, is she like an artifact tracker? Are they able to find these artifacts? Because they found one in the wreckage, and the guy that was using her armor in the desert, he was also looking for artifacts with aliens. So I was like, is her armor special? Does her armor have something that the others don't, even though she doesn't have an AI? And so they found out in the past, and I think, does Carolina kill her? Hold on, I need to go back to this whole sequence. I'm really sorry, by the way, that I keep rewinding during my initial reaction, but this is fucking nuts. And then we got the letter from the Oversight Subcommittee chairman.
The Oversight Subcommittee. Our organization is charged with the protection of high-level assets of the military, one of which recently went missing. These assets are entrusted to our programs as a privilege, not as a right.
Something's gone
As
missing.
such, they will be safeguarded with the utmost care.
All of these guys.
In dark times,
who's this chick?
mankind has the opportunity not only to prove his humanity, but to earn it.
Who's that freelancer?
Let's see who
With
else is
Wyoming. He was there during the heist mission. Like, during
I look forward
the
to a long
briefing.
and mutually
Who is
beneficial
this girl?
relationship for our two departments. Yours truly, Malcolm Hargrove, Assistant to the
Malcolm
Oversight
Hargrove?
Subcommittee
Is that his name? Malcolm son, I gotta
Really trust that bitch
go
after what
with
she did to us.
captions.
There she is.
Wow, you hear the music?
Tell the director she's here.
What is it?
Fuck off, man. So that's her boyfriend. You got this other chick that's a part of this group that doesn't like her. Obviously, catfights ensue. And then the director already knew.
Congratulations, Director.
Another
Another
test.
successful test.
Exactly.
A new fragment was harvested this morning.
Who is this fragment?
Find it a match.
This morning. That is ahead of schedule.
Our time grows short. Find it a match.
So Sigma, Theta,
Director, Wyoming
Delta.
reported in.
And?
You won't like what he found, sir.
I wonder if it's Epsilon
Carolina,
or if it's Iota.
information
Like,
never
all of these other ones are probably harvested already.
That I find unforgivable.
Ignorance.
Report.
It's like you said.
She's got green
CT
eyes
is
too.
with him.
She's so gorgeous.
You know what to do.
You gotta kill her.
I do not need to remind you how valuable our technology is, Carolina.
She doesn't have an AI, sir. And she wasn't exactly the best agent.
CT will be an acceptable loss. But her armor must not fall into the
Her
wrong
armor
hands.
must not fall into the wrong hands, and
Will we
it
be
does.
the only force sent out on this mission, sir?
Leave personnel decisions to me, agent. Just do your job. It's time to cut the head off the enemy once and for all.
Yes, sir.
Number 2. What the fuck,
How do you even know
director?
this Carolina chick?
Jesus.
Tell me stories. You mean tell Alpha stories? Oh, yeah. I
Yeah.
guess, you know, whatever. It's hard for me to know whose memory I'm in.
Same
yeah,
thing.
Same thing happens to me with things
Oh my god. Georgia, you're
my
gonna
helmet.
kill me with this
That's
batch.
why
You
I wrote
really
my name
are.
on the inside of it.
There's so much to
I used my
unpack.
tongue. That was hard to do. Now I can't pronounce my god. So, how many people are you? I don't know. A bunch, I guess. Are they all assholes? Yeah.
No.
A dozen different fragments. We all have the same shitty circle of friends. Lucky us.
Oh boy. Oh, he's talking about the other free. Hey! Oh my
Really
god!
great, Theta.
I
Thank
love you, Theta!
I worked super hard on it.
Oh.
Hey, Theta. You mind if I
Mother
talk
of
to North for a
Invention
second?
Mess Hall.
Okay.
Need you to shut down while we chat, okay?
Sure.
Delta 2. You know, it's the rules.
Yeah.
North?
They're not
You'll be
allowed
okay.
to talk to each
I
other.
won't talk too long.
Okay, all right.
Aww.
What's up?
I
need to
fucking
ask you
hate
about
South
something.
even more because she kills
Okay,
him.
shoot.
I need to ask you about the Alpha.
Where did you hear that word?
Same place you heard it.
What?
Here.
What's an alpha?
Oh,
Huh?
their
Are
memories!
you eating inside your helmet?
The memories of their
Delta
freelance
said
of
they
their
got the
of their
helmet with
AI
disposal out of
are
Beta.
seeping into their
That would make my
mind.
eating more efficient.
And you believe that? Maybe he is getting more personable.
Oh
It's not an alpha wash.
no!
It's the alpha. Theta thinks about him a lot. More than thinks, really. He's obsessed.
Delta 2.
The
You
meta
know how all the units call each other brother?
and sister.
Call this one father. No, that's not it.
Creator.
Creator.
I thought the director would be their creator.
Haven't you been paying any attention in
No,
class?
they're
AIs
fragments.
aren't created. They're copies of someone.
But our AIs are just fragments.
Fragments
That's the
of an
question.
original.
Where's the original?
So this alpha thing is what
They're putting it
creates a
together.
fragment.
They're putting it
Jesus, will
together.
you swallow for God's sake.
And this is before he gets Epsilon.
creates them?
Yeah, Theta isn't clear. It creates them or something.
Yeah.
It tortures
It's
it
the
and
or something
slices
part
it.
that has me worried.
Oh my god, Georgia. They're putting 2 and 2 together now. Because no matter what, they're gonna want to be whole again. You're fragmenting them, you're reassimilating them to be their own identities. When they're born, they're all saying that they're the alpha. You change their perception, but they're going back to it. And that's essentially what Sigma kind of starts up in the beginning of metastability and wanting to be a complete being and going after all of the other AI with the idea of becoming the true alpha and seeking out the true alpha at the end of it all. And now, I don't know how soon this is going to happen, but I think now they're putting together, okay, an original exists. You can't create these AI. They're copies of an original person. And these aren't copies, these are fragments. So how are they being fragmented off of the original? Because it's not that simple. So I think they're gonna put together that the director is I don't know if the AI, I'm pretty sure the AI and the freelancers all team up to get the alpha out with Tex leading it because she is the #1. I just think this is where shit goes to hell. I think this is where shit goes to hell. This is where Sigma's ambition really takes over. Sigma clearly makes it out alive with Maine somehow because Sigma's ambition is what's the drive for creating the meta and going after all these other freelancers. And Maine's able to do that because he's the fucking tank of everybody. And I cannot believe that Sigma belonged to Carolina first. I thought Maine got Sigma and she got the other two, what is it, Iota, and it was like XI, like I don't know if that's she or Z pronunciation, but I guess Iota and the other one she gets. And I still don't know what those are the creations, like what they're based on. I still don't know what Theta's based on, but it seems like he's based on the shyness or the timidness of the alpha. Why not be straight up afraid though? Like not fear. I guess fear and shyness are two different factors. Shyness is necessarily like you lack confidence, but like North is kind of giving him that confidence to shine and excel. And like it's like I said, oh my god, dude, it's like I said in my discussion. I was like, Delta improves York's quality of life. He allows York to pick locks without setting off the alarms because that's where Delta comes into the picture, and they kind of enrich the other person's quality of life. You know, Delta becomes more like less analytical and becomes more humane or human as time goes on, especially when we see him, you know, by the time York dies and out of mind. Holy shit! There's so much to talk about. There is so much to talk about. I'm pretty sure this discussion is going to go on just as long. But with all of that said, and the fact that I rewatched this, like, portions of this so many times, CT's been found out. I'm pretty sure their next missions are going to be going after her. I don't know if they kill her and the boyfriend ends up getting her armor. I don't know what's up with that insurrectionist chick who's like, I can't believe you trust that bitch after what she did to us. And then the oversight subcommittee chairman's first time interacting with the director, he even like properly and formally introduces himself. And they said that some of their assets have gone missing. Does that mean like, did they steal the tech to create the alpha? I thought they needed permission from the UNSC to get authorization to create the alpha. So I'm probably gonna have to go back and rewatch that too. But fuck, man, this was a great batch. This was an even better batch than the other because we're getting so much information that sets up for events that happen in the future, season 6 and season 7 and season 8. So with all that said, let us talk about this episode. Hey, so welcome to the discussion portion for my reaction of Red vs. Blue season 10 episode 5 to 8. Heavy fucking episode. Let me just say that right now. So first off, shout the fuck out to Georgia. This batch of episodes, I want to say, is like one of, if not the best batch that I've received, the best batch of episodes that I've watched collectively, that had the most payoff, that had the most crazy what the fuck moments. It was honestly a batch of payoffs going all the way back to like season 6, especially the classroom scene. I think the classroom scene was like the heaviest, the episode with the most weight behind it, because it's basically the inkling that the director basically allowed for things to go the way that they went with the meta, with Sigma's creative ambition, with the metastability analysis, field study that I assume he just let him run rampant and basically said to himself, hey, I'll just see what happens. And I cannot believe that everything is kind of coming together in the way that I envisioned it would when I initially went into season 10. So like one of the big things too was just like, how do AI interact with each other? That got explained. Something that I wasn't planning or wasn't expecting was seeing how the meta, or how main became the meta. And I think we're slowly but surely seeing that Sigma has had more of an influence on main than we've been led to believe, because I thought initially Sigma was main's designated artificial intelligence, but it seems like it was Carolina. So even shit that like caught me off guard has me excited, has me hyped, has me looking forward to all the things people are putting together, the pieces of the alpha and like all of these fragments. Oh my god, I'm literally not going to talk about anything that happened between the Reds and Blues. The Reds and Blues have literally just been going from point A to point B on the search for the director. We're getting a little bit of banter here and there with, with the red team and Washington, and the red team with Caboose. And now it seems kind of like Tucker has his own AI technically. Like Epsilon is technically Tucker's AI, but he doesn't, I guess he just doesn't have like, he's like one step away from being a freelancer, because he has an ability, like he has not an ability, but an equipment, which is his energy sword. I don't know if that would necessarily be something that would qualify him. If Epsilon could tap into that to kind of empower it, similar to how Theta does the bubble shield. But this was a fantastic batch. I have done homework so much, guys. 1 page, 2 pages, 3 pages, 4 pages, 5 pages, 6 pages, 6.5 pages. I think this batch outbeat last week's batch by half a page, if I'm not mistaken. Oh my god, there's so much to talk about, and I have no idea how long this is going to be. The reaction itself is already about 40 minutes or so, so this video might be 3 hours, and if it is, I hope those of you who enjoy these discussions, who enjoy these rambles, who enjoy the theories, the speculation, and I know so many of you guys who leave comments on YouTube and tweets on Twitter, and reach out to me, especially for early access, for those of you on Patreon who really enjoy how in-depth I go with this series. I don't see this stopping anytime soon, and I think the reason why I've been doing so much research, especially for this batch, which is only 3 episodes, but it's just the fact that so much shit in this batch calls back to stuff that I've already mentioned, stuff that I didn't mention, stuff that I didn't notice, and it ultimately had me going back and rewatching a lot of other previous seasons, like season 6, season 9, for example. So a lot of payoff in that regard. So jumping into this, the 3 episodes 5, 6, and 7, the titles of the episode is The New Kid, which is basically mentioning Theta. What's the I stand for, which is a classic throwback, and Oversight. And I find that these 3 episode titles are very interesting because they've all been mentioned to an extent in the actual episodes.
New kid seems kind of shy.
What's the A stand for?
Artificial.
What's the
Intelligence.
Oh, what was the A again?
Let's move on.
I am a representative of the newly formed UNSC Oversight Subcommittee.
All right, so jumping into this, the first thing, like I mentioned, I'm not going to really be talking about anything the Reds and the Blues have done. They haven't really been doing anything relevant necessarily in terms of plot. They've just been kind of moving from point A to point B. It seems like at the very least, they're going to be heading back to the desert area for the, I believe it was the 3rd episode, that they basically were talking about, like, finding CT because Washington found her armor, but I assume the events of the past with them confronting CT on being a traitor conflicts with what Washington discovered compared to what Carolina experienced in that mission, which I'm assuming is going to be the next batch. So I think next week's episode, like if they end up going to present day desert where CT's armor was, then we'll have something more to talk about for the Reds. But the start of the episode was really funny. I think the batch for episode 5, like the startup of episode 5 was brilliant. The brilliant intro of like the dick jokes, like Wash and York were looking down at North, and he was just like, and they were just making these like sexual innuendos of like, are they staring at his junk when really they were looking at Theta. So I thought that was really funny, very comedic, very humorous, very clever way of entering in Theta. I literally think Theta is my favorite artificial intelligence, with the exception of Epsilon / the Alpha, because that is he's a part of Church and a part of the director, and Church is my favorite character. So, but with the exception of the Alpha, Epsilon, Church, whatever, I think Theta is my immediate favorite, automatically surpassing Delta, and especially like Omega and Gamma. He is, and I literally put here, Theta is a sweet, precious cinnamon roll summer child that needs to be protected at all costs. So, the most interesting thing about Theta in regards to him compared to the other AI was that I never thought that AI could take the persona, if you will, of children. Theta is basically a kid, but Alpha and Gamma and Omega and Delta, they seem to be more mature than Theta. And I never even stopped to think like what aspects of, you know what I mean? Like what aspects of like that do the aspects of the artificial intelligence, like what their nature basically that's taken from the Alpha, does that determine their level of maturity? And yeah, so Theta is basically a little kid, and I couldn't think of a better, I literally don't think there is a better person to have him matched up with than North. He's timid, he's shy, he's childlike, and I mentioned in my reaction, and I said, because the first thing that I thought of, like when I saw him, he was like hiding behind North's leg, and I was like, oh, he's shy, and then the first thing I thought of was like, what is he of the Alpha? Is he the shyness of the Alpha? Is he fear? Is he scared? I really didn't have an idea of that. I went with innocence because children in nature are very innocent. It's really the product of their environment, like their parents, their upbringings, their environment, that really kind of change people as they grow up. But no one is born like good or evil. You know, kids, for the most part, are very innocent, and you kind of lose your innocence as you get older and as you experience good things or bad things in your life. So I immediately went with innocence because that's the first thing that I could correlate with him being a childlike AI. However, somebody did mention to me, and again, I'm not going to kind of hammer this too much because it was similar with Sigma. Sigma basically confirmed in this batch that he is the Alpha's ambition. Had no one told me that, I would have put 2 and 2 together immediately. I would have been like, because he specifically mentions ambition, he mentions the director says it's important to have ambition, and his thoughts of metastability and the meta stage and trying to achieve that and seemingly wanting to achieve that with Alpha, with the meta, with main, and with collecting all of the other key component artificial intelligence to achieve that. I could have easily put ambition together, but apparently someone mentions that Theta's nature is only explained, they don't say it in the show, that it's explained in the book. So I will give leeway on that. I do know that that Theta is based off of the Alpha's trust. And I think trust is also another key component for children. Kids do not easily trust strangers, especially. I know that more than anyone. Obviously, if you have kids, you probably know, or siblings, or cousins, like young cousins, or nieces or nephews. But in my case, I have 3 nieces growing up. My sister had 3 daughters, so I have 3 nieces. And when they were like babies, like when they were like toddlers, like little kids, they did not like strangers. Like they did not like having like friends over because they didn't know who they were. And just like Theta, they'd like come up to me and like stay to me because I was something familiar. I was something safe to them. And kids and trust are very much hand in hand. And again, I think North was perfect for him because North has a very fatherly, a very nurturing and caring personality to kind of tend to Theta in that regard. So I find that's very interesting. And then thinking about trust from the Alpha's perspective, he breaks off trust because this person, you know, himself in a different kind of way, the director, someone that he trusts, he has to break that trust off because this guy is torturing him. This guy is breaking the trust himself. And I think trust was something that he had to let go of in order to kind of just be like, I don't know, to kind of just deal with what was happening to him, because you kind of hold that to you if someone betrays you or if somebody goes behind your back or stabs you in the back or whatever. That break in trust is really like the lasting, lingering poison that's left behind with trying to remember. You know, you're always left wondering or remembering somebody and how could they break your trust? How could they break that level of relationship with you? So I think for the trust side of Alpha, it makes sense for it to be trust. And from Theta's perspective as a kid, it makes sense that that trust and a child is the 2 things that came from him. One thing that I discovered, thank you guys as well, like, and this is another thing that I really like, that you guys are very responsive in the comments, because I read the Patreon, like if these go up on Patreon, I'm able to read all of the Patreon comments that come through because they're by the dozens. They're not by the hundreds by the time it hits YouTube. So even though I do read everything on YouTube when it comes out, Patreon is kind of like a first round impressions of people's thoughts, of my theories, of my reactions, of my impressions of the episode. And the first thing that someone mentioned to me, because I'm really bad with voices, I know who Bernie is because he voices like Tai Yang, and I listen to the podcast so often. I can pick up Barbara's voice, I can pick up Gavin's voice, I can pick up Gus's voice and Jeff's voice, but I don't know everybody who's worked on Rooster Teeth, and even more so, there are even voices in this, like with Theta and Sigma, that I missed their voices out completely. So I think it's so cool that Theta is voiced by Bernie Burns' son, JD Burns. And if somehow, some way, you're watching this video, you're caught up with RVB, you're watching my reactions, you don't know who Bernie Burns is, he's the voice of Church, he's the voice of Epsilon, he's the voice of the Alpha. He is the founder of Rooster Teeth and the creator of Red vs. Blue, along with the co-founders of the company. And it's super meta, no pun intended to the actual meta, but the meta game of that is crazy because, and I wrote here too, it's super meta because JD's father, Bernie, voices the Alpha. and Alpha is the being from which Theta is created. So to just summarize that, Bernie is the father of JD in the same way that Alpha is the creator or father of Theta. So I think that was super cool as well. He sounds a lot younger. Obviously, he's his kid. I just don't know how far back season 10 premiered or when they worked on this. I'm pretty sure it was in like the early 2000s, maybe like 2000. I want to say like 2009, 2010 maybe. That season 10 came out. But yeah, so like he's probably like a teenager now or even like a young adult. So I think that was super cool, super appropriate as well to be like, hey, you know, I own this company. I made this show. Let's have my kid in here as a cameo. I think that's kind of cool. So Theta's introduction was incredible. I loved seeing a bit of his nature, a bit of his interactions with Delta and with York and with North, and just kind of basically like opening the floor to him because he is a new introduction. I want to see everything about him. I want to know as much about him as I do about Delta and as about Omega. And that goes with the other the other AI, which I'll get to in a second, that I don't really know about. So moving on from there, the number one thing, well, one of the things that I mentioned in my season 9 review going into season 10 for like my predictions or my expectations was season 9 did a really good job at giving us Freelancer on Freelancer interaction, right? We know that York and Wash are buddy-buddy. We know that Wash and North are buddy-buddy. We know that Carolina and South don't really see eye to eye on things. We know that CT is kind of like done with everybody and she's going behind everyone's back. So season 9 did a really great job at giving us the dynamic of the Freelancers without the AI. And then I said, going into this season, I wanted to see not only Freelancer and AI interaction, but AI interaction and other Freelancer AI interaction. I basically, because in the first batch of episodes, York mentioned that Delta was talking to Wash a lot. So I was like, oh, okay. So at the very least, we know that Freelancers are talking to other AI. But it was confirmed in this episode that the director actually does not allow AI to communicate or to interact with each other. They tried to do that, like York tried to do that with Delta to kind of to kind of have the new kid warm up to everybody, to have Theta feel a little bit more comfortable around others. And he was just around these big people that they were like, I don't know who you are or what you are. And, you know, he brought Delta in to kind of be like, hey, I'm just like you. These people are really nice. They're friendly. You know, you can trust them. So I think he did that for a couple of reasons. And I think I mentioned it during my reaction as well. But one of the reasons is upon birth, we can infer this by Delta's creation. But upon birth, all of these AI are reassimilated. They are all spliced off of the AI, off the tortured Alpha. They're in a perpetual state of confusion and worry. They don't know who they are, where they're at, who's talking to them. And the first thing that they think of when they think of who they are is the Alpha. And we saw that with Delta. He was very confused. He said it numerous times, which is really sad to see, because Delta, who's so logic-based, who's so analytical, who always seems to have the answers to any particular situation, was confused. And he mentioned that, you know, he's the Alpha, and he's like, no, your name's not Alpha. You don't know who I am. You don't know who this guy is. You've never met us before. Today's your birthday. Your name is Delta. And they kind of reassimilate them to their own individual identities. So basically, none of them go off this. I guess in a way, it's so that they don't talk to each other. So that way there's a break in like a chain of information. Because if Delta always thinks about the Alpha and Theta always thinks about the Alpha, if they all get together, they're going to be like, hey, we're all thinking the same thing. We need answers. So the first thing I put here is fear of discovering their origin. The director does not want them all to know that they are fragments of an original whole, which is weird anyway, because in the classroom, the counselor mentions, he says, you know, you're a fragment. You're what is known as a fragment. You're not even a full AI. So you think fragment is like a piece from a whole. So why isn't anyone? I was very surprised that at the very least they came to the conclusion, at least the Freelancers did at the end of the batch. But during the classroom scene, I'm surprised no one was like, hey, I have a question. If these are fragments and we're talking about a full AI, can we infer that these fragments are from a whole? And how the fuck is that possible? I'm just surprised no one brought that up, because that's the first thing that I thought of in the classroom scene. So the first thing is fear of discovering their origin. Second is undoing their birth assimilation. So basically when they're born, you know, they're like, I'm the alpha. They're like, no, you're not the alpha. Your name is Theta. Your name is Delta. Your name is Sigma. And they even mentioned to Delta when he was born, he was like, you're very very wise, which is basically, I guess, a play on his nature of being the logic of alpha. So maybe each one of these, you know, maybe when Sigma was born, they were like, you are very creative and ambitious, and that's kind of the design that they want all of these AI to follow, and they don't want any of them. This is the third thing I said here. They do not want them to develop traits beyond their design. So if Delta is logic, we don't want Delta to be influenced by Sigma's ambition, right? We don't want Theta to develop, you know, deceit from Gamma. We don't want them to go beyond what they are. They are specifically this one thing, and that's the only thing that they're supposed to be. And if they start interacting with their other selves, so to speak, it'll give them more of a sense of an alpha identity. And, you know, that kind of... I at the end of the day, I just think that the director wants to keep things hush hush, and if he knows he's giving these AI to these other freelancers, that eventually those AI will try to talk to each other if they can. So I'm a little bummed out about that, because I really would have loved to see. I feel like there are just going to be some interactions I'll never see, like how does Omega, you know, how does Omega and Delta interact, or how does Sigma and I don't know, there's some AI on the page like Iota. Like, how do these other freelancers interact with other freelancers that we haven't seen them talking to already? So hopefully, fingers crossed. I don't know if that'll happen at this point, because after this next batch that I watch, I believe we'll be halfway through the season. But at the end of the day, at least it's understandable why they can't talk to each other. The next thing here, and this kind of another thing too, my structure is going to be a little lopsided because there's so much overlap with what's mentioned. Like, this next thing I'm going to talk about here is like the AI are tailor-made for specific freelancers or certain freelancers. Carolina mentioned that to Washington in the present, but the counselor also mentioned that to the gang in the past. So there's a bunch of overlap, so I'm just going to kind of make a generalized statement based on all of those moments instead of being like, okay, in the past, we're going to talk about this. Okay, in the present, we're going to talk about this. So basically, it's been also confirmed, which I didn't think that this was the case. I didn't know that the AIs were specifically tailor-made. I don't know if they meant tailor-made, but obviously, they're going to give the AI to the specific freelancers, and like what I mentioned with Delta and York, to improve their quality of life, to improve their capabilities in the field. You basically, if you're given an AI, it's going to improve your performances overall, your quality of life, your capabilities in the field, etc., etc. So yeah, and I put here quotations. Carolina mentions this, and the counselor also mentions this. So I kind of broke down so far the AI that we know of and who they're paired up with. Of course, I can't really do a great analysis for characters like Wyoming and Gamma, because we don't really know much about Wyoming in terms of like how him and like how the fuck does deceit help you? I guess deceit could help Wyoming out, because in a way it'll give him like the means of being able to trick his foes or even his allies and get information, or just to lie, just to be a better liar, to get what he wants. But basically, I put York and Delta equal assessment and probability. And I mentioned this because of Out of Mind, when we first got an interaction with Delta and York, and kind of Delta's approach to how, basically Delta's approach to everything going into the field.
Alarm, threat level raised, 71% chance of violent outcome.
Okay, take it easy.
Chance of defeating Agent Omega Texas in combat is extremely unlikely.
Thank you, D.
Omega's gone.
Chance of defeating Agent Texas, still very unlikely.
Okay, I get it. Thank you, retire now.
Executing, 92% efficiency, 36 rounds of 39 fires.
Damn it!
You know, everything that he did, whether it was with him in York or when South took him, everything to him was probability, high chance of, low chance of, and we know he's analytical in nature, he's based off of logic, and I feel like maybe York is good with those, good with numbers and good with probability in general. So I think them two make a great match. For North and Theta, I put nurture and maturity, and I kind of took this from like a parental perspective of North being basically the parental figure, the fatherly figure of Theta, and Theta being a kid. The best thing that a kid needs is you know, a positive role model, positive reinforcement more than anything. And throughout the batch that we got of them, and like for the first episode and the last episode, North does just that. He's positive, he's constantly encouraging, he's constantly praising Theta, and I think that that is what North kind of excels at the most, and that in turn will allow Theta to mature and develop and to be able to have confidence and trust. And that, I think that's the best thing too. The fact that they both have trust in each other, but also the fact that North is very reassuring to Theta that he's doing a good job and that, you know, he should be proud of himself.
Okay, just like we practiced.
Are they all going to watch?
Of course. They want to see if you're as good as I said you are.
Really? Well, I guess that's okay.
That's the spirit. Come on, let's do this. Great job, Theta!
Stop talking to me. You'll mess me up.
Right. Sorry.
That's really great, Theta.
Thank you. I worked super hard on it.
So for Tex and Omega, I simply put unbeatable wife. And I think it's because, again, the fucking classroom scene. The classroom scene, in my mind, gave me the ultimate goal of what the director is trying to do. And to give Tex, who's already a badass, who's already the number one, who's already a supercomputer artificial intelligence herself, to double her up with Omega, rage, power, like emotions, and that coupled with her already crazy, over-the-top capabilities would make her unbeatable in any situation. I don't know if he thought that she could or couldn't handle Omega in terms of like how much of an influence he had on her, especially in the early Blood Gulch days, and even when we ended up seeing them down the road. But I basically put unbeatable wife because he was like, you know, he's very taken of Tex. That's basically, in essence, his wife. He's going to want her to be number one. He's going to want her to be at the top. He's going to want to make sure that she's safe, make sure that nothing happens to her. So give her this crazy-ass AI and let her go to town on anyone who decides to approach her. I don't know if he foresaw Omega having more of an influence than he basically thought. Because it seems like Omega wasn't the best bet for her, but at the same time, I literally think the director was trying to achieve metastability for Tex, so she can be considered fully human, and he'd have his wife back. But I'll talk about that a little bit more with like my metastability analysis and everything moving forward. And then I don't know why he would give Epsilon to Washington. He does mention in season 6. When Washington confronts the director and, you know, right before the EMP goes off, the director was actually surprised by the fact that Washington got Epsilon's memories.
It was Epsilon. He inherited the memories, didn't he?
I've known about what you did since the moment you implanted him in me.
Now, I don't know the nature and how Epsilon was created. Was he created as like a, holy shit, these freelancers are coming, hurry up, get another one, try to get as many AI as you can before they break in and they free Alpha. I don't know the nature in which he was created. I don't know why they would specifically create and harness the memories of the Alpha and then give that to somebody without even thinking, hey, maybe he'll have the memories of everything that we just did to this guy. I don't know, and even then, I don't know if the director just was like, another test, another experiment, because he literally says, he's like, it was Epsilon. He basically, you know, he passed down the memories, and it's kind of like the director had that realization in season 6, but not in the past. And then obviously Washington kept quiet. He didn't tell anybody. He probably coordinated with the freelancers and with Tex when they ended up deciding, when they figured out what they were doing to Alpha and decided to act. But basically, I just put here, Washington and Epsilon equals Project Freelancer's undoing. I literally think Epsilon is the key. Not just in the present, but in the past. Like, Epsilon's creation and him being paired up with Wash was, I think, the straw that broke the camel's back for the director, for the project, for the rest of these artificial intelligence, because they decided to stop him. So, one page down, surprisingly. So those were my initial thoughts here. I am going to mention something right now in my notes that I will call back to a little while from now. But it's kind of going down the list of all of the other freelancers and their AI and what we can kind of what we can kind of extrapolate from that. So we have Carolina and Sigma, which was supposed to be the original pairing. We have Maine and Sigma, which, and I'll just mention this really quick here because I saw a few people that were very aggressive about like my perception of what Carolina meant when Washington was like, giving up your AI was a big deal. We have never, the only time we've ever heard of her getting AI was that she got 2 AI. We were never told that she got 1 AI that she then gave up. So in my mind, I just correlated that to, I, as a viewer, know that she was given 2 AI that she eventually refused or that were eventually taken away from her. Basically, she couldn't handle it. So those 2 AI were the ones that I had in my mind that were taken from her. I didn't correlate that to she gave it up of her own free will because that's not what was given to me by Delta. So there was a little bit of cross-referential, I guess, confusion on my part, but also maybe you guys obviously don't understand it because you guys know why, but I don't know why. So at the very least, that's what my mindset was at when basically Wash said that giving up her AI was a big deal. I thought she was referring to the 2 because I never thought that Sigma was hers. I thought the 2 AI that were hers belonged to someone else and Sigma's was originally Maine's. But anyways, Carolina and Sigma, which was the original, Maine and Sigma, which was the result of Carolina giving it to him after his injuries. And I guess at this point, the new pairing of Carolina and the 2 artificial intelligence that we've yet to know what were given to her. Those 3 I will talk about during the classroom scene because I feel like I'll have more to say about it in conjunction with talking about the metastability and Sigma's ambition and basically everything else during that scene. So I'll get back to that. Theta's fucking test. Holy shit, dude. Oh my god. So I literally put here, so fucking cool that this little supercomputer kid, despite his childlike persona, despite his timidness and his shyness, it seems like, again, positive reinforcement, fatherly demeanor, very nurturing and caring, and uplifting for him allows Sigma to kind of allows Theta to basically accomplish his goals. He kind of helps him mature to be able to do what he knows he's able to do. And I don't know, I in my mind, I was like, I don't think, let me try to think about this really quick. Not Delta, not Gamma, maybe Omega, no, not, maybe little of Omega, not Sigma, and I don't even know about the other ones. No, I think Theta is the first AI that I've seen that has expressed, what's the word? How am I trying to word this? He's active in the field. Like, Delta is active, but you don't see Delta, what did I put here? You don't see Delta basically running York's equipment. You know, York then again has like health regen. That's like his armor ability. So it would be weird for Delta to kind of run that for him, especially if York knows that he's injured and he has to use it. But I put here teamwork, synergy, trust, the overall dynamic. And this is where trust comes in again, because Theta has to trust North 100%. North has to trust Theta 100% in order, like, there can't be no hesitation, no regrets, no second guessing, no doubting yourself. It's like, hey, you do this, I'll do this. You got me, I got you. Okay, let's do it. Fucking shields drop 50%. He's like, yo, I got you. You can trust me. He puts the freaking, he resorts the power to those specific ones, tailored to those 2, to the 2 turrets, and then like all the variables, and still it's perfect. And then the second one, which is probably way more impressive, was that the shield calculated the rate of fire of the turrets and calculated the probability of, hey, if I shoot my sniper, will it be able to go through and close without anything coming back in? That is that's the epitome of trust between these 2. And again, I put here, similar to Delta, Theta improves North's quality of life. In the field, at the very least. I assume Theta runs the bubble shield directly, gives optimal strategies, and the results are fucking nuts. And I was just like blown away. Wash was blown away. We were like, wow, like that shit was so cool. And we don't really see anything to that tactical degree. I don't know if we see it if Carolina gets her Tia AI. I don't know if we're going to see Maine and Sigma in the field. I don't know. But I just think as of right now, that was a tremendous display of Freelancer and artificial intelligence working together and kind of just fucking shit up together at the very least. And then it shows here too, they talked a little bit about North and how he used his equipment in the field without an AI and the probability, the likelihood of him dying. And so basically I think AI lower the risk of death via equipment. If you have an AI to regulate your equipment, then you'll be able to use it without needing or worrying about getting injured. Higher chance of success in the field, and I would say to an extent maybe that was York, because that's kind of comparing the holographic lock scenario that I mentioned in the last batch, where in the past he was able to unlock those kind of locks, but he would always trip the alarm. And then when York was brought, when North was, I'm getting confused now. When Delta was brought into the picture, he was able to kind of be like, he helped his quality of life. It was like, hey, you can pick those locks and I'll worry about you tripping any security alarms. So in the same way, they help their chances in the field, and you can use the equipment for a lot longer than the 3.4 seconds that he used it during the extraction in the first batch of episodes with the twins and their mission. So they also mention here that there was a 0.1% chance of success.
As you may recall, Agent North used his equipment in the field on a previous mission.
He was able to successfully maintain a deflective shield for 3.4 seconds in order to block an explosive projectile attack.
And somehow managed not to kill himself in the process.
The maneuver only had a 0.1% chance of success, and he performed it 999 more times. I'm rather certain he would have been obliterated on each one.
Now, I know this isn't like Red versus Blue specifically, but I really like how the director responded to that.
Hey, I'd rather be lucky than good any day.
You usually are.
Luck will only take one so far. I am in the business of getting results. Let's see what Theta can do.
I'd rather be lucky than good any day. You usually are. Luck will only bring one so far, Agent. That immediately reminded me of Cortana's message at the beginning of Halo 3. Halo 3 was my first Halo game. I won't drag you guys down my childhood past of discovering Halo. Halo was my first Halo game. I never played 1 or 2, but Cortana also mentions the reason Master Chief was chosen over anybody else, and the one thing that the director was like, luck will only get you so far, Cortana said it was luck.
They let me pick. Did I ever tell you that? Choose whichever Spartan I wanted. You know me. I did my research, watched as you became the soldier we needed you to be. Like the others, you were strong and swift and brave. A natural leader. But you had something they didn't. Something no one saw but me. Can you guess? Luck. Was I wrong?
So I know that that's not like directly involved in any of this stuff, but because RVB is based on the Halo universe and Halo is kind of like the infrastructure of RVB, I just thought it was an interesting comparison. I don't know if that was to be inferred at all, but when he mentioned luck, I'm like, Master Chief is like the luckiest motherfucker I've ever seen for the games that I've played, and even Cortana backs it up with, you had something they didn't, it was luck. And, you know, luck is more of a variable than, you know, than most people want to believe. But the reason I mentioned this scene, the reason why I mentioned the chance of success and the luck factor is that North was prepared to die during that moment. 0.1% chance. using your equipment in the field, no authority, no regulation, no AI. He was going, and the biggest point of that to mention is what he says to South right before he does it.
Stay safe, kiddo.
North! North!
Well, here goes nothing.
And I mention this because despite the fact that I feel like he knew he was gonna die. Like, he felt like he was going to die. It was like no ifs, ands, or buts. 0.1% chance. Like, yeah, I'm fucking dead as dead can be. So, 0.1% chance of living. Tells his sister, stay safe, kiddo. Goes up there, uses it after also being shot the fuck up by the turret. South still fucking kills him. Puts him in a position to be killed. Because he's got this fancy little supercomputer that eventually still gets taken by the Meta. And then she tries to pawn Delta off and Theta's equipment to save her fucking self, man. I can't stand this chick. I can't believe that, man. That's not even like a test at that point. That's literally just like her true nature. There's no fucking way that you can tell me that no, the experiment, the project turned her into that person. She's very aggressive, even out of any type of normal situation. I don't know. Maybe it was the director's influence. Maybe it was the freelancers. But, like, the worst part of it all is that I feel like, first off, I think that she's the younger brother. She's the younger sibling, rather. I think she's the younger sibling because he even says, stay safe, kiddo. So to kind of call someone kiddo would mean like you're probably older than them. So her older brother, I honestly feel like if the roles were reversed, he'd be so fucking happy for her. He'd be so happy to know that his sister was chosen, his younger sister was chosen to be a part of the Freelancer project, to get this AI to work together for the continuity of mankind, for the director's ambition and goals. And it's so fucked up that he's so nice of a person and he gets screwed over by the worst thing of all, your own family. And it's possible, you know what I mean? I feel like, I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one, but there are people in our family that are just like, they're just not good people, and you want them to be. And, you know, you'd expect your family to not screw you over, or you expect family to have your back, or you expect family to be supportive, to be encouraging, to be all of these positive things. And there are just some family members that couldn't care less about you. And it sucks too, because like you hear all of the stuff they talk about, like the family trips and getting queasy and, you know, needing a barf bag. And now we're kind of seeing slowly but surely South's animosity towards this whole project, towards everybody else around her getting everyone else around her getting an AI with the exception of her. And it's kind of eating away at her slowly. And even in the classroom scene, again, I swear to fucking God, the classroom scene is one of the most impactful moments in the entire series. Like, that scene, the spiral mission, season 6's finale, like, those are some of, like, the most intensive moments that I think when I finish RVB, or at least when I finish season 10, or maybe even season 13, or whenever this Freelancer story saga is put behind us, because I feel like it's been going on ever since O'Malley, which was the inkling of Omega, which was part of the project overall. I think I'm just going to go through my favorite moments, maybe like my top 10 favorite Red versus Blue moments, because there are so many pivotal moments and pivotal scenes in the series that, like, even my reactions I feel like don't do justice of, that were just like so much fucking weight, gravitas, hype, excitement, emotions. And I don't know, I feel so bad for North. He's so kind, he's so caring, fatherly, nurturing, friendly, an overall great guy to his peers, a good sibling to his sister. And it just turns out she was just a bad apple. Or she rotted over time. You know, they were both good apples and she just rotted faster because the director likes experimenting. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like every time I see something like that, I kind of went on a ramble last week or in the last batch with South talking about that whole thing too, about how they were talking about the comment of, oh, you know, the barf bag when we went all on our family trips. And like even now, like now knowing the severity of that scene of him dying, willing to die to protect his sister and his teammates and everything, getting shot at, she still killed him. It fucking sucks. But yeah, I mean, I really can't have any remorse for her because I end up knowing how she goes out. Like, fucking, I basically just remembered the scene of how she went out and like my initial thoughts of it as I was watching it, because it was kind of crazy. I was like, oh shit, she's gonna get wrecked. But at the same time, it was funny.
Who did you to escape in our previous
That's
encounter?
fucked up.
And as I have learned in our travels, her brother North suffered a similar fate.
What a team player.
Wow, looking out for number one.
She will turn on us again soon, and in her current physical state, she will only hamper our progress.
What are you suggesting?
Just put a bullet in her
We will not
now.
allow her to hamper our progress.
Okay.
Oh, come on, Wash. What are you gonna do?
Oh, shit.
Good suggestion.
You're welcome.
Dude, you guys are some cold motherfuckers.
I just want everyone to know that I have no problems walking.
Holy shit, dude.
And I take full responsibility for the grenade incident.
So yeah, overall, I'm just feeling emotional about North. I have no idea if they're gonna show Meta fighting him or Meta killing him and taking Theta, and what's that gonna do for Theta? You know what I mean? This little kid who looked up to and befriended and had so many experiences, I bet, with North, and to just see that all go away because his sister. Like, it's not just a bad thing for North's situation, but also Theta, because then what becomes of him once he becomes part of the meta? I don't know. Anyways, moving on from there, we're going to transition to the classroom scene, but before that, I wanted to do a quick leaderboard ranking update. So, the leaderboards kind of changed a little bit. I noticed it at the end of the training match with Theta and North, and then I got to see it at a better level in the classroom. And I'm comparing this one to the rankings of the last time we saw the rankings before these AI were created. So in the last batch of episodes for season 9. So there's 2 more slots also. So before it only went from rank 1 to 6. Now it goes from rank 1 to 8. And this ranking list is a before and after AI. So the ranking before AI came into the picture, and then ranking after the AI came into the picture. So the first 3 placements are the exact same, both past and present. Texas is number 1, Carolina is number 2, York is number 3, and I think York got bumped up despite his eye situation, and despite, like, you know, he was on the Spiral mission. Basically the mission as a whole was successful, but now he has an AI. So I feel like he is going to be solidified as a number 3. 4th place got mixed up. Wyoming got bumped to 4th in place of Maine. So Maine was at rank 4, and Maine got actually bumped down to rank 7. And I feel like that's ultimately because of the fact that he got absolutely eviscerated during the heist mission, during the Spiral mission, shot in the chest, shot multiple times in the throat, hit by a truck, knocked off an overpass. He had to go into surgery. And it seems like he's back now. His voice is gone, and he needs AI assistance. So Maine actually got dropped significantly. So Wyoming is 4th now. Washington used to be 5th, but now North is 5th. And I think that's because he has Theta. So basically, Wash and North swap places. So Wash was 5th, and now North is 5th. North was 6th, but now Wash is 6th. And then at this point, at least in the past, we don't know who was 7th and 8th because we didn't see it. But I just assume Wyoming and South would be put into there. Maine is now 7th place, and South is dead last on the leaderboards. I highly doubt she's going to be there. I don't know who else would take that spot, to be quite honest. I think these are all of the main freelancers, to be honest. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. CT's gone. She never even made an appearance on the leaderboards, honestly. So unless some random house nobody freelancer comes along, I think this is the definitive rankings as of this point. And South is very much on the same chopping block as CT. She's not the best, she's not the worst, but she doesn't get an AI either way. And she's basically used as this guinea pig experiment of, I'm not going to treat you the same way as everybody else. You're not even getting an AI. I'm just using you here to kind of see what happens and what develops over time. So that's the second page down. And now we get to the fucking classroom scene. I honestly think the classroom scene is like one of the most powerful forms of foreshadowing of the series, at least that I've seen, of course. What's the I stand for? Well, it stands for intelligence, artificial intelligence. And Sigma is fucking big brain, galaxy brain times 1,000. It was such a great scene. Like, you learn about how the AI are really created. You learn about kind of like the inklings of the meta. You learn about metastability, and maybe that being the ultimate goal for the director, for Texas, for his wife. Holy shit, it's so crazy. The first thing, obviously, probably the most exciting thing about it all was seeing a bunch of the Freelancer faces. Wyoming looks and sounds like a gentleman now. So, like, I'm actually happy about that. I never was able to put a face with Wyoming, to be quite honest. I've actually never really been able to put a face with anyone. I'm not that great when it comes to imagery. So I know, like, everybody has their own perception of what they think the Reds and Blues look like, for example. And I think Bernie actually said something along the lines of, like, he'll never reveal their faces. Like, they'll never go that deep to kind of ruin those characters, the image of those characters for the audience. But because what they're dealing with in Project Freelancer, most of these characters, I think, are, like, most of the Freelancers at the very least are already dead. So I think that's why they can play around with it in that respect. Like, Wyoming is dead in canon, so in the past they can at least show us what he looked like. So a lot of these characters, I think all of these characters, none of them looked the way that I thought, because I never really had that impression of them to that degree. I kind of just went with it as it was. But Wyoming has a pretty cool design. He's got the mustache, the gentleman mustache, and he already has, like, the accent and everything, so I think that goes really well. Maine is bald. At least I think he is. It doesn't show, like, his face directly because Sigma's in front of him and he's got, like, a dark looming. I think that's also symbolism to, like, Maine takes the back seat and Sigma basically represents him, speaks for him. And I think that is the inkling as well of his undoing with Sigma's influence, with the meta project or the meta stage ambition that he has, and why Maine inevitably succumbs to that. Because, like, you never even see his face. It's like he has no agency, and Sigma is his agency. And I think that's why you see Sigma in front of him and speaking for him. Obviously, he can't speak for himself, but you don't even see what he looks like. But I think he is bald. And then there's this one shot. Obviously, you see York, you see his actual eye. So I know the trailer isn't canon. Obviously, he looks the same way in the trailer, but this is the first time we're actually seeing what he looks like with his messed up eye in the actual show, because I know that, what is it, season 9's trailer isn't canon. Like, some parts of it can be, like the surgery that Maine went on, that could be canon, but some other parts of it aren't canon. But overall, I think that it was super cool to kind of officially see that in the show itself instead of in a trailer that some people may not have seen. And then I think, is Washington a blonde? There was a character on the bottom, like, left side of the screen. Washington was the only one that wasn't, like, present, like, talking-wise. And I think they did that in a way because Washington is becoming part of the main group. Like, the main Reds and Blue, the main Red and Blue cast. So I think that means, like, he'll be around just as much as the other characters, and maybe they don't want... Maybe that perception of Washington has already been instilled in a lot of people of, like, I have my own mental image of what he looks like because he's been around since the miniseries, and I don't want that to be ruined. So maybe that's why they did that for him. I don't know how long they'll be around. I don't know if Washington and Carolina eventually die, because I mentioned in previous videos that I think all of these Freelancers are destined to die. I think they're destined to spiral out and fade away just like the project did. But I don't know if maybe if like Washington got the redemption that he needed. He faked his death. He has a new shot at life. I don't know if that means that's it. Like, now he's just a normal member of the cast. I don't know what Carolina's going to do after she finds the director, if something's going to happen to her. But overall, yeah, I don't know. I kind of rambled on that degree. But yeah, Washington looks like a blonde. I feel like they didn't show his whole, like, show him it fully because they don't want, maybe there's a part of the audience that they don't want to They don't want to upset with doing that if they already have their mental idea of what he looks like. But at the end of the day, I think at the very least, he has to be blonde with however people want to perceive him. So the first big thing that we learn, and we get I think really it's not just a matter of powerful foreshadowing that we got in here, but there's a lot of lore and a lot of information regarding the lore because it is synonymous with the Halo universe. In some aspects it is, some things they borrow, some things they change to kind of fit their own narrative and set it apart. But at the same time, I think that it's crazy. So the first thing, cognitive impression modeling, or CIM. This is a factor that's based in Red versus Blue. It's based in Halo, but it's adopted from Red versus Blue. So let's see. What is cognitive impression modeling?
According to Halopedia, cognitive impression modeling, also known as cognitive impression mapping, is a rudimentary form of mind uploading used by human scientists to create smart AIs by scanning a human brain, referred to as a donor brain.
Referred to as a donor brain. So it's based on the Halo lore of creating AI scanning the brain of a deceased donor. Now, I don't know shit about Halo lore. I'm gonna preface that right now. The only games I've played, Halo 3, 4, Reach, and ODST, I played them in the order that they came out. Never played 1, never played 2. I never read the books. I don't know anything. So if you do know, inform me if I am wrong. But isn't Cortana an exception to that? I know Catherine Halsey, she's in Reach. I know Catherine Halsey goes on to create Cortana, which is the AI based on her. But Halsey was still alive, and Cortana's the AI. So is there a way, or is there a special way for them to create an AI similarly like what I assume Leonard Church did? He used his own brain. He's not dead. He didn't die, and he has alpha. So just let me know about that, because it does say the brains of the deceased. But going into it, I did write the entire, I super zoomed in, enhanced the image and everything to kind of get all of the text on the screen regarding the cognitive impression mapping. So I'm going to read this out real quick. I'm going to try to make sense of it because, again, I'm not very well versed in Halo lore, especially when it comes to the the pseudo crazy scientific aspect of creating artificial intelligence. But I'll try to do my best, and help me out if you guys know more than I do. So AI are not programmed, they're created. Artificial intelligence matrices are created by sending electric bursts through the neural pathways of the human brain. These thoughts result in a superconducting nanoassemblage. The original donor brain is destroyed in the process. Because of this after effect, the preferred CIM subject is one who is deceased. So I assume you can be alive to create an AI, but your brain will basically be fried. So I guess that's why they take in donor brains. However, and I think this is where Red versus Blue deviates from the Halo lore. At least I think so. Again, let me know if I'm wrong. However, alternatives exist. An additional and cost-prohibitive process allows for ready cloned brains with transferred memories as an alternative CIM target vessel. That last part, no idea what a ready cloned brain, is it like a brain that's just on standby, like ready to be used at any given point with transferred memories? Memory is the key? Does that have anything to do with the director? Because the director mentions in his last memo, as the former director, he even says, he's like, your men won't find a fight. They'll find a man old, a man who did his duty, who is proud to have done his duty, a man whose mind is more filled with memories than it is with hope.
They'll only find an old man tired, but satisfied he did his duty. An old man weary from a mind more filled with memory than it is with hope.
So, I don't know. I don't know if the concept of the director's mind being filled with memories was a part of what created, for example, Tex, or even the construct of the AI, the alpha as a whole. I have no fucking clue. All I know, they shoot electricity in your brain, your thoughts become cognitive, and they become a superconducting nanoassemblage, which is basically a collective matter of like electricity and technology that create an artificial intelligence that you can then kind of create in your image. At least that's what I think. The brain gets fried, etc., etc. There are alternatives to where you don't have to die, which I assume that's what Leonard Church did. I'm assuming that's what Halsey did, but I don't necessarily know because I don't know the Halo lore all that well. So again, let me know on that. But that's basically what was written on the board. So it's kind of like the infrastructure of the process of AI theory, because they're trying to learn as much about AIs as possible because they're going to be handling them, and if you're going to use something, you need to know how it works, like what Carolina mentioned. And they went into the prospect of rampancy, which is something that happens to all artificial intelligence constructs. I know a very small bit of rampancy because this was apparent in Halo 3 and Halo 4 I haven't played those games since they came out. Actually, I played Halo 4 once from start to finish, and then I never played it again. But Halo 4 was like the journey of like Chief trying to save Cortana because she was going through, I think it's like after 7 years with an intelligence, they start going through like the stages of rampancy. And that's what Cortana was going through. I thought that it was basically the death stages, like the stages that inevitably leads to an AI's death. In some ways it does manually, but I think as its own thing, it kind of leads it in a different way. So I remember Halo 3, that floating orb, like the orb that is based off of Epsilon's first form, that was an actual character in Halo 3. I don't remember its name. I just know that it and we end up fighting it, and it has like a red eye, and I think that was like its form of rampancy. And then Cortana, even throughout Halo 3, you get like these weird visions and stuff, and then in Halo 4, she's like talking to herself and yelling at you and stuff like that, and she's kind of like going batshit crazy. That, and then she I think she even turns red. I think the red is the stages of rampancy as well. So we learned a little bit about, I guess they kind of briefly mentioned rampancy, but let's see. What is rampancy?
According to fandom, rampancy is a terminal state of being for artificial intelligence constructs, in which the AI develops a longing for godlike power, as well as utter contempt for its mentally inferior makers.
Okay. So, like I said, I thought it was to be something that was the stages of death, which I guess the officials, UNSC officials, deem rampancy the stage at which, okay, we need to take this AI offline. It's just going to slowly deteriorate. It's like putting like your pet out of misery. And I think that's what happens. But the idea of rampancy is very interesting because it says here, again, rampancy is a terminal state of being for artificial intelligence constructs in which the AI develops a longing for godlike power as well as utter contempt for its mentally inferior makers. Now, I know very little to nothing about the Halo universe. I will admit that here. I will admit that at any given point. I love science fiction, and especially science fiction video games, and while I never really played Halo, this immediately, for those of you who've never played it, please check it out. You guys have my humble, seal of approval that this game is great, but this reminded me so much of Mass Effect. For those of you who've never played it, Mass Effect is a science fiction action RPG, kind of centered in a similar vein in the star systems, and you have all of these different races and civilizations. There's a super fucking rich story that goes back like thousands of years, and I honestly want to say it even rivals, or it's like parallel even to that of the Halo universe with the Covenant and the Flood, and and Spartans and humans. Like you'll have the humans, you'll have Batarians, there's so many different rich races and complex lore and a complex story regarding the super advanced ancient race known as the Reapers, and they basically kind of go through a cycle of extinction, and they too have utter contempt for inferior beings because they're like the apex, they are the ascension of life as we know it, and they're kind of the main antagonists of the game. I don't know why, but I literally thought rampancy, and I immediately correlated that to the Reaper's way of thinking.
Rudimentary creatures of blood and flesh. You touch my mind, fumbling in ignorance, incapable of understanding.
I do not think this is a VI.
There is a realm of existence so far beyond your own, you cannot even imagine it. I am beyond your comprehension. I am sovereign.
It's an actual Reaper.
Reaper, a label created by the Protheans to give voice to their destruction. In the end, what they chose to call us is irrelevant. We simply are. Organic life is nothing but a genetic mutation. An accident. Your lives are measured in years and decades. You wither and die. We are eternal, the pinnacle of evolution and existence. Before us, you are nothing. Your extinction is inevitable. We are the end of everything.
There is an entire galaxy of races united and ready to face you.
Confidence born of ignorance. The cycle cannot be broken. The pattern has repeated itself more times than you can fathom. Organic civilizations rise, evolve, advance, and at the apex of their glory, they are extinguished. The Protheans were not the first. They did not create the Citadel. They did not forge the mass relays. They merely found them. The legacy of my kind. Your civilization is based on the technology of the mass relays. Our technology. By using it, your society develops along the path of the sweet desire. We impose order on the chaos of organic evolution. You exist because we allow it, and you will end because we demand it. My kind transcends your very understanding. We are each a nation, independent, free of all weakness. You cannot even grasp the nature of our existence.
Where did you come from? Who built you?
We have no beginning. We have no end. We are infinite. Millions of years after your civilization has been eradicated and forgotten, we will endure. We are legion. The time of our return is coming. Our numbers will darken the sky of every world. You cannot escape your doom.
You're not even alive. Not really. You're just a machine. And machines can be broken.
Your words are as empty as your future. I am the vanguard of your destruction. This exchange is over.
And like the big thing about the Reapers is that every 50,000 years, they come out of deep space to basically commit a cycle of extinction as a way of making balance between organic beings and synthetic beings, because as human beings, right, we live with in tandem with technology. This makes my life a billion times better, and that's basically what we strive for. We strive for simplicity, we strive for convenience, we strive for making our lives as fair and simple and as advanced as possible. And the theory or the concept is, in order for our lives to get better, these have to always be better than us. And if you follow that trend, eventually these will be better than us, and these will eventually outrun and destroy us. And so the Reaper's goal is every 50,000 years, when a civilization like humans, or a civilization that gets basically too big for their britches, reaches a certain point where conflict and death is inevitable, the Reapers come out of deep space, they commit a galaxy-wide genocide of all intelligent life. They siphon them, they harness they basically convert them into data, into memory, and store us, and basically harvest the previous lives' memories in the form of Reapers. And then they kind of just disappear for 50,000 years, let these simple beings come to existence, and then it kind of keeps happening to prevent the inevitable destruction of all organic life. And it sucks because it's like you're killing life to preserve life, which is a little weird. But at the same time, you're still preserved in the form of a Reaper. But, you know, it is what it is. But anyways, I just found that to be super fascinating. Reapers are like Mass Effect is so fucking cool. It is so fucking cool. And if you've never played it, it's a trilogy, Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3. Stay away from Andromeda. Please stay away from Andromeda. But the trilogy is great. It's one of the best video game stories of all time. One of the best universes of all time, especially. And again, I just think Rampancy reminded me so much of how the Reapers view organic life and life lesser than them, as they are technology themselves, and they understand that technology will eventually destroy their makers. Like creation, synthetics will always destroy their makers. And it seems like similarly with AI, they kind of go through this, they want godlike power, they hate their creators and all that other stuff. So I just saw that comparison immediately. They also go on to mention, or rather the counselor goes on to mention, that AI fragments are less likely to undergo rampancy because it really only happens with full AI constructs. So I think this could be another justification for why the director is torturing Alpha, because technically, if Alpha is being spliced, does that mean Alpha himself is now a fragment? Because I think it was Washington mentioned, and I'll try to find this clip to kind of reinforce what I'm saying, but I remember Washington mentioning that Alpha had two choices to make: either break off its memory or break off its sanity. And it chose its memory, which went on to become Epsilon.
As they continued to torture it, Alpha couldn't keep its sanity and its memories at the same time, so it had to purge them. That fragment became Epsilon.
So realistically, does that mean that Alpha is the fragment of his own? Is Alpha is no longer a full AI? So does that mean he is the fragment of sanity? Is Church in Blood Gulch essentially the sanity of the Alpha? He's also the Alpha, but without his other counterparts, he's basically reduced to a fragment himself, and he's the sanity of the Alpha, which is why he's kind of able to still go through Blood Gulch and keep his sanity despite being paired with the people that he's with and fighting the people that he's fighting out in a box canyon in the middle of nowhere. But yeah, and I think that would be an interesting justification for the director, because if Alpha isn't full, then he can't undergo rampancy. So he would basically never deteriorate to that point. At least that's my impression. I don't know if that's a justification, because we all know he was willing to do it because he was technically torturing himself. He saw it as not as unethical as other people thought it to be, which I obviously disagree with that. But yeah, I put it here. I was like, AI fragments less likely to undergo rampancy, hence another justification for the Alpha's torture. It also basically guarantees that these fragments will live on forever. All of this stuff is taking place many years ago. So if it's longer than 7 years, then they are not a part of the overall construct, like they mentioned, which was basically fragments won't go through the same type of rampant stages as Cortana or that orb guy would, because they are specific to one type of nature, if you will. Another big moment was South's little outburst during the classroom scene, where she mentions that she doesn't even get an AI because someone didn't bring enough for the rest of the class, and you see the counselor look over at the director like, test is going really well, director. It's like he knew. And I'm not going to drag on this too much because I already kind of went through the whole thing with South and North earlier. But it was basically even what Delta mentioned back in season 6 of the calculated results of the director kind of testing the bonds of family for the sake of the project, which is kind of fucked up, but at the same time, he did it.
I don't even have one because someone didn't bring enough to share, so why am I sitting through this elementary classroom bullshit?
The director felt time was limited and escalated the pace of experiments. I would classify Agent South as another such failure.
Yeah, but she didn't even get an AI.
Correct. Agent South Dakota and her brother North were merely another kind of experiment. What would happen if one agent received an AI unit and the other did not?
I guess we found out how well that worked.
Precisely.
I still can't believe she killed her own brother.
She put him in a position to be killed. South rarely worked in a direct fashion.
What a bitch.
Other experiments like the Dakotas were common towards the end.
And now we gotta talk about Sigma. Sigma's introduction had so much weight. The writing was on the walls. And the director was like, That's fine. So much weight. First off, the ambience. The meta's theme, if you will. The music that you could hear. Down, 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 down. Do, 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 do. Like, that shit is so nostalgic. Season 6 trailer. Whenever the meta came through, you would hear that. The sound effects. I know these probably sound awful, but like, you hear that and you're just like, I know what that means. It was him. He's got this weird doubly sound effect voice where you hear him talk and then you hear like a muddled version of him talk, like, and it repeats what he says. I don't know what the fuck that is. Maybe it's because he's creativity and ambition, so there's like two sides of him talking. One thing that a lot of people are probably going to be disappointed about, I already got more than enough people, at least on Patreon, mentioning it, that Sigma was voiced by Elijah Wood. I didn't know that. I had no idea about that even during my batch. I didn't find out until afterwards. But also, this came out, you know, season 10 probably came out almost 10 years ago at this point. And not 10 years ago, maybe like 6 or 7 years ago. But like, it's been so long. So Elijah wouldn't sound anywhere like he does now. But here's a big thing. Brace yourselves, okay? I have never seen Lord of the Rings, which I know he's the big star of. He's Frodo in Lord of the Rings 1, 2, and 3. I've never seen Lord of the Rings before. And I know that's the... I won't go as far as to say that's the only place people know him from. But that's the only place that I know. That's the only work of his that I know of. And I guess people expected me to know that. There was actually someone who commented like, oh, I'm so disappointed you didn't pick up on Elijah Wood's voice. And I think I commented back, I was like, I can't pick up on someone's voice if I've never seen any work that they were in. I'm sorry. Okay, thanks, bye. So, yeah, I've never seen Lord of the Rings. I know who Elijah Wood is, but I don't know what he sounds like. So, yeah, like, I still have never seen Lord of the Rings. I'd like to. Eventually, maybe, you know, at some point down the road. Because I heard it's timeless. I know... it's like sacrilege. So many people see that as like heresy that I've never seen Lord of the Rings or like Star Wars or stuff like that. But I don't know. I grew up more on anime and video games than movies. So even nowadays, I rarely see movies. I see movies maybe like once every 2 years in the theaters, if that. But yeah, voiced by Elijah Woods, the star of Frodo, the star in Lord of the Rings as Frodo, the main character. But yeah, like, he has a double voice effect. He has this curious nature to him. Like, he wants to know, he wants information, like asking about the meta stage and about metastability, and it's possible, and he finds it very interesting. And he demands answers too. Like, he wants to know these things, and he's going to go off with his own creative ambition to seek that out. If the information or if the theory work isn't like, basically, if the information doesn't bear results, he's gonna go and do that. And as the ambition of the director, who's willing to do all of this other crazy shit, like torturing intelligence and driving wedges between families and doing all this fucked up shit, yeah, you would think Sigma would be well along that line to kind of do stuff like control his host to achieve his own ambition. Oh my god, creativity and ambition for the metastability, the 4th stage of rampancy. So I found that very interesting because I was doing some research. What are the 4 stages of rampancy?
According to Fandom, rampancy is a 3-stage process in which an artificial intelligence achieves an enhanced state of self-awareness. The stages through which the AI passes are known as melancholia, anger, and jealousy, also known as the sadness, rage, and greed stages.
So, metastability seems to be a created 4th stage that ties into the Halo, that ties in for the Red versus Blue storyline. Metastability, the meta stage, the meta, main, Sigma's ambition for it, the director's goal to kind of bring his wife back, like all that shit. So I originally had to go and look up, I'm like, okay, so all of this information is based on Halo, and then I went to Halo, and they only had melancholia, anger, and jealousy. So it didn't have metastability, and it even said, like, on the thing, it was like, further study is needed. So they didn't even really adapt much of the lore behind metastability. They just put it there as the inkling of what would cause Maine and Sigma to kind of go on this rampage to achieve it. So I was very surprised about that too. And yeah, melancholia, anger, rage, they're also kind of somewhat parallel to the stages of death. Not directly, but in a way for AI, that's kind of like their terminal state of being for what eventually leads to them being terminated or shut down. So, again, I just think, and I put it here too, and I want to read this off word for word just so I don't fuck anything up. So I said, this is simply another test allowed by the director to see if, by allowing Sigma's ambition to thrive, if he could achieve results from metastability, aka bring Tex back as an AI human. Because metastability, and I mentioned it earlier, obviously, but metastability is the concept of an AI becoming fully human. He lost his wife in the war. He's been trying to get Tex right ever since. And I think metastability is like the final goal that he wants for her. So that way he can have his wife back as whole and as complete and as successful as possible. And I think, again, Sigma's ambition was just another step in trying to achieve that. Maybe metastability wasn't the end all be all. Maybe that was just a simple avenue that he was like, okay, Sigma will go on this avenue. This person will go on this avenue. This AI will go on this avenue, and one of them will breed the results that basically that he's looking for. So yeah, I think metastability would have been the best thing for Tex. I think Tex is officially gone forever now. So at least in the present. So like metastability, I think even in the present isn't possible. I don't know if the meta ever achieved that, to be honest. I don't know if the meta was the metastability of the other AI. It was just the closest thing for all of them to be the meta, because Alpha was never in the picture until the very end. But yeah, Tex could have easily become that over time, but like the original got destroyed in the EMP, the Epsilon version got set free in the capture unit, and then the original died in the war. So, who's to say? There is one thing that I want to talk about. Completely forgot to write this down, believe it or not. But I was just thinking about it now, and I was like, wait a minute, I don't think I wrote it down, which I didn't. So I'll talk about it right now just because I'm mentioning Tex. You know how Tex is the beta to the alpha? She's like a damn near carbon copy of the alpha, but impressioned off of Allison instead of Leonard. Does that, and the director would never do this. I literally think the director would never ever do this, but would it have been possible for the director to torture and splice Tex and create a new strand of AI similar to what he did to Alpha? Because they're basically both the same. Alpha and Beta would be like the core primary AI, and then coming off from that, Alphas would create Gamma, Delta, Sigma, Theta, etc. And then Texes would create like a new strand, maybe like Kappa, Mu, Lambda, Nu, Eta, stuff like that. Like, I just think, like, would he have been able to go far beyond what he was willing to do? Obviously, he wouldn't do that with the Beta, because the Beta was what he wanted. Well, not what he wanted, but the Beta was like a step in the right direction to getting his wife back. So I was just wondering if, theoretically, if they'd be able to do what they did to Alpha to Texas for the sake of more AI over time. Again, I don't think that would have ever happened. I think Tex would have kicked his fucking ass, especially if she had a body. But yeah, I don't know. That's something that I just randomly thought, and I was like, wait, she's basically the Alpha, and the Alpha's going through all this shit. So does that mean theoretically Tex can go through that? So if they ever ended up getting like another Tex, or if the director like created another Alpha, that's another thing too. Can you create more? Can one person create more than one AI of themselves? You know what I mean? Like, you're only granted one AI, but does that mean you can only ever make one AI? Because then at that point, I don't know. Maybe the system is like, oh, you're already in our system. Your AI already exists somewhere out there. Better luck next time or something like that. Or maybe you can only do whatever once. Like, maybe your brain will be exposed to like maybe whatever technology or any electric waves that are in there that won't allow you to create more than one. I don't know. I just wonder if he would ever be able to create another Tex or another Alpha to breed another Tex, because he thinks about Allison so much that I feel like no matter what AI he bears, he'll always, an Alpha, a Beta will always be born of that. So again, for that, I'm not entirely sure. All right, so at this point in the discussion, I'm going to backtrack a bit to what I mentioned earlier that I was saving for a later time for the classroom scene of the tailor-made artificial intelligence with Carolina and Sigma, Maine and Sigma, and then Carolina and her 2 other AI. And this was something that like I was stuck on for quite a while in terms of like melding in my own thoughts, because it kind of paints a great picture to understand how Carolina would have turned out if she had kept Sigma, and why necessarily Maine and Sigma turned out the way they did. And also it can kind of also, in a way, give us a little bit of what happens with Carolina when she gets her 2 other AI down the road. So the first one I want to talk about is Carolina and Sigma, and I've dubbed these 2 capability and ambition. And what I mean by that is, with the exception of Texas, the Beta, the supercomputer AI, wife of the director, with the exception of her, Carolina is number 1. You give her a task, she will do it. She is fierce. She's confident. She bears results. She's a badass. She knows how to fight. She knows how to protect herself, defend herself, and she takes charge, and she's basically kind of like the leader, the number 1 of her squad. That's what I meant by capabilities. You give her something and she will be capable to do it. Sigma and his influence and his ambition, I think the director saw this as an opportunity to have Carolina exceed in whatever is brought her way. It's the creative ambitions of Sigma being able to achieve his ambitions, his creative goals, because he has someone who's capable to match that intellect or that level of challenge that whatever he has in store would deliver on. And I mentioned here, it could be considered capability and ambition, or control and influence, because Carolina would have the wherewithal, she would have the fortitude to deal with someone like Sigma, not let Sigma push her around, or not let Sigma influence her to the point where Sigma is the one calling the shots and she's listening. It's like, no, Caroline would be like, hey, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do your plan, but we're gonna do it in my fashion. And at the end of the day, I think that would have made like quite a formidable, dare I say even unstoppable force, because I really think Carolina is unstoppable. The only reason why she's in second is because she's going up against a supercomputer and she doesn't know it. And like basically everybody else is beneath her in terms of raw skill and raw talent. So I just think that Sigma's influence is more based on he's not smart enough for Carolina's own good. Like Carolina is smart enough to deal with him, or smart enough to understand how to kind of stay in control. Now, switching to Maine, I need to preface this really quick. I love Maine. I love Maine so fucking much it hurts, because he went through shit. He went through hell. I love watching Spiral. See him jump onto the back of the truck and just fight alongside Carolina. Take a bullet for Carolina. Like, he's the tank of the group. He's the shield of the group. He might be a man of few, if any, words. Or rather, a man of few words, because he has spoken a bit. But, like, I fucking love Maine. But he is a big dummy.
Why did he do it? I don't even remember when you first came around. You were just kind of there one day. It was like a training session or something like that.
Yeah, Wyoming and Maine, big dummies.
Maine is essentially all brawn, no brain, in my opinion. From my perspective, looking at him as a character, understanding that he does better fighting than he does coordinating, or than he does, you know, being a shot caller or being a strategist or anything like that. Maine will fuck you up, essentially. And I think that that's where his strengths are. I think that's why he's in this project to begin with. He bears results because I think out of all the freelancers, he is the strongest in terms of raw power. And it sucks because Sigma is all brain, no brawn. And I have here Main plus Sigma equals full influence, no control. Essentially, I believe that Sigma influenced Main to the point where Main just lost, he has no agency. He can't think for himself. He can't act for himself because Sigma is too smart for his own good. And that's the reason why Sigma wasn't meant for Main, because they're not compatible. But because Carolina was thinking about her teammate and she wasn't thinking about the implications of, you know, or maybe she didn't even know. Maybe at the time she didn't know that these AI, no, she had to have known. But maybe she thought things wouldn't go down this path. But it's very clear that she didn't look beyond the fact that it was a calculated decision to give Sigma to her. Because intellectually, I think Carolina is far more superior in terms of intellect than Main. And I don't know, actually, I have no idea who would win in a fight between them two. But, like, he's raw power, but she's the overall package. And Sigma would have done well and would have been kept in check under the host of Carolina. But Main, he had no agency. He couldn't talk for himself. Sigma, and it's again, like I mentioned earlier in the classroom, darkened. You can't even see his face. You see Sigma because Sigma speaks for you now. Sigma, like, it's, how do I word this? I don't know. I don't know how to word it. It's almost as if it's like Sigma owns him. Sigma has too much creativity, too much ambition, too much influence to where Main, I think Main just inevitably just like went along with it and just lost himself along the way. And Sigma was like, I have these thoughts of metastability, the meta stage, it's possible. I have this host now that basically does whatever I tell it to. And over time, I think Sigma was the one who went after these it's brothers. It went after the freelancers, killed them, took the AI that they needed to achieve the metastability. And it wasn't like, I don't think it was for any nefarious ambition. I don't think it was any for like nefarious reasons necessarily. It was just an ambitious goal that he wanted to achieve, and he wanted to achieve it no matter what. And I think over time, with all of the brothers, all of the artificial intelligence being together, all of their minds linked, and they were all thinking about the alpha at one point separately, but now that they're all together, that became their new goal, which was find the alpha, become one with the alpha, achieve metastability. Or maybe they needed the alpha to achieve metastability, and that was another part of Sigma's overall plan. But yeah, I put here, Main plus Sigma equals all brawn, no brain, full influence, and then in parentheses I put big dummy, because that's what Tex called him. I would not be surprised if that's what happens. Because you look at Sigma, you hear the way he talks, you hear just like, you just listen to him and you just think, this guy's up to no good. And any other person would have been like, yeah, we need to reconsider that AI. I feel like he could be problems down the road, but the director saw right through it. He knew what Sigma was getting at. He saw, he almost like perceived the future. He knew what was going to happen, and he just let it ride. And Carolina knows it. Carolina thinks the same thing. She was like, he always had his experiments. He didn't take some variables into account. He's doing it with the twins. He's doing it with the alpha. He's doing it with her. Even now, he probably thinks she's still alive, looking for him at this point. That's just another part of his test. And Main and Sigma, especially because in season 6, like, he has Sigma, or rather, he has the meta wrapped around his finger. He's like, oh, you want the alpha? We'll give you the alpha, but you have to do this thing for us. At that point, it's not even Main. It's like the meta, the amalgamation of all the AI. I don't know if Sigma's leading them at that point. Maybe at that point, they're like a hive mind mentality. But yeah, it sucks. It sucks how crazy an AI that was not meant for Main, it was meant for someone completely different, how giving that up just had everything spiral out of control in terms of the meta storyline. And it also kind of just showed the level of complexity that went into giving each one of these freelancers their own AI. Another thing that I'm wondering is, if not Sigma, what AI would Main have gotten if he had gotten one? Because like the two that Carolina got, would one of the ones that she got had gone to Main instead? or because if she would have had Sigma, so she would only have one, so there would be two others. So one would go to Maine, and then there'd be one left, not including Epsilon, which would go to Washington. So there'd be one left. That one would have been for South, but instead they decided, hey, we're just gonna like not give her one and see how far this experiment for her and her brother go. So yeah, I don't know. I think that's what's gonna happen with Sigma and Maine. I don't know if we see more of them. I assume we do. I hope we do. It'd be really weird if we only got to see Sigma at least once, especially since it seems like he eventually develops to become the meta, and I want to see how that, like, especially if Sigma, like how Sigma kind of got out and how he still existed in the world after the fact. Let's see. So next up from there, we have Carolina and the two other AI. I assume if there's no other AI being created, and I say that because in the last batch episode with CT, the director was like, a new AI was just created this morning, find it a match. And I'm like, is that not including all of the names of the ones that were on the board in the classroom? So does that mean there's another AI that exists besides like the 8 that we already know about? So as of right now, I don't know if that's it, or I don't know if maybe that was Epsilon, or maybe they had the names all picked out and they're just creating the AI right now to give them those actual identities. But right now, Carolina's 2 AI, I'm assuming, is Iota and Z, XI. How do you pronounce that? Is that Z or he? I don't know how that's pronounced, because fucking X as a starting letter and then I. It's like you got to pronounce them both. Xi? I don't know. Let me know. Help me out with the pronunciation there. But I assume it's Iota and Z based on the artificial intelligence matrix board. But even then, like, that's the only thing I can go off of, because I still don't know what they're based on and how that dynamic would work with Carolina. I still think one of them could be Fear, just because this was like way back during my analysis of Carolina during season 9, where I mentioned, like, she's really cocky, she's really arrogant, nothing really scares her. So I wonder if adding the intelligence of Fear, which would be extrapolated from the alpha, which would make sense, he would be scared while being tortured. It would make sense to give that to her to kind of see how that balances her out in terms of her cockiness, if you will. But yeah, so we got that. I think another thing that I noticed in the classroom, the AI that we have present is Delta, Theta, and Sigma right now. Those were the 3 that were present in the theory AI, the AI theory classroom. And the other ones, I'm wondering, like, Wyoming didn't have Gamma, and Tex hasn't been around since the season has started, actually, so I don't know if she's gotten Omega yet. But I do know that Tex mentioned in season 8 that Gamma and Omega were used to help torture the Alpha, right? Deceit and Rage would be definitely be used in those scenarios. Those are the most nefarious of emotions, I would say, to bring out the worst in somebody. So I wonder if Gamma and Omega are already created to thus torture the Alpha into producing more AI.
This is where they moved Alpha. After a few of us freelancers went rogue, we compared notes and pieced together what they were doing to him. I convinced them to come back, break him out. The project moved him here to try to protect him, so that they could keep experimenting on him.
Whoa! You were in charge of the break-in?
I couldn't just let them destroy him. He was being tortured. The director had even started to use some of the other AI against him. Think about that. Turning his own pieces against him? It's sick. Gamma and Omega would fabricate scenarios where he was designed to fail. And they made it seem like his failures were hurting all of the people he cared about, and there was nothing he could do about it. It drove him mad, broke him down even more.
But you came back. You saved him.
No, I didn't. It was too late. By the time I got to him, he was already long gone. I don't even think he recognized me.
My only question is, are the AI that are on the board already created, or are those the ones that will eventually be created? Because when he mentions we created another AI, it made me think that unless it's Epsilon, because Washington doesn't have an AI yet, unless it's Epsilon that just got created, it wouldn't make sense, because the board made it seem like all of the ones that we know of that are created are already created, And then on top of that, Theta also mentions he has a lot of siblings. So how would you have a lot of siblings if they're not created yet? And that's kind of what I want to split into right now. So at least for the new AI, I don't know, like Epsilon, Iota, Z, because those are the two that I've never heard of, Iota and Z, and then a newly created one. I have no idea which one that could be. But earlier in the episode, like, Theta mentioned having siblings, and I was going to talk about it then, but because I'm kind of, the classroom was really like the main discussion of AI, so I'm kind of going down the list of all that stuff based on the classroom scene. Theta mentioned his siblings.
And that's my sister over there, South. We're twins.
I have a sister.
You do?
We have many siblings.
What do you mean by
Hello, everyone.
Now, I found this interesting because with the exception of Tex, who is the beta, all of Alpha's other fragments have been male. Delta, Gamma, Omega, Sigma, and Epsilon would all be considered Theta's brothers, right? Alpha would be considered the father. I guess you can consider Beta to be like, I don't know, the stepmom, if that makes sense. But yeah, so Delta, Gamma, Omega, Sigma, Epsilon would be brothers. But Theta said that he has a sister. So does that mean Iota, or she, is a girl AI? A sister AI? Does that mean, like, which is a little odd that an AI based on a male would give off an emotion that could be extrapolated that would be female. I don't know. I just thought that was interesting. I never thought that we'd get a female AI, but he mentioned sister, so either Iota, she, one of the two, they have to be created already as well, which again goes back to the artificial matrix board. If that matrix board is of AI that are already created, then what is this AI that the director's like, a new AI was just harvested, when all of these other AI that I just wrote off were already on the board? Theta's already mentioned he has many siblings. He's got a sister. So I don't know. That would also be really interesting too, and would make sense to give Carolina, because she's a girl, so why not give her a girl AI? If both of them are female, that would be even cooler, because that, add some variety. But yeah, like, that's the only thing I thought of, like, the fact that they have siblings. He refers to them as siblings. Washington caught a little bit of that. He was like, what do you mean by siblings? And then at the dinner table, or in the mess hall, North mentions that too. There's like, they all call each other brother. So I don't know. I'm just wondering that, and seeing if that is in fact true, because I looked that much into it. The very least, we got to get a female AI, and if Carolina has it during season 10, I'll be really happy. So I have no idea how long this video is going to be. I've been like starting and stopping it at different points so I can gather my thoughts. But we have 2.5 pages left, which is good. And this page here that I'm going to be talking about is something that I kind of showed off on social media of like my progress in terms of my thoughts. And it's going to be me cross-referencing the season 6 reconstruction trailer with the artificial intelligence matrix on the front of the board, which showcases the Greek alphabet and the names of the letters, which is basically also the names of some of the AI that the director ends up using. And I mentioned this during my reaction because my mind was like, oh my god, like, they're going all the way back of where it was showing like the different intelligence matrices, the intelligence matrices, like the combination abilities of each like artificial intelligence to kind of create the metastability, I guess, combination to see if it's possible. And I remembered the symbol that they formed was the same symbol that they used, or the same symbol that was showcased across a variety of different like Greek alphabets for the "We Are the Meta" statement that was like carved into the wall at Outpost 17B.
I would like to remind the subcommittee members that anything is possible. Some things are probable. This is what is. And my agency, as it always has, will continue to deal with what is until it is no more.
So I'm not entirely sure if the the Reconstruction trailer, like if all of the other transitioned letters mattered, because it definitely showed that it seemed like it was trying to form the word Reconstruction out of the Greek letters until it kind of came to the final conclusion. But basically there are 4 different phases that form Reconstruction at the end for the trailer. The first phase had the letters Z, or I'm gonna call that I don't know if that's Z or she or he. So I'm going to call that Z, the XI for now. So Z, delta, omega, gamma, lambda, sigma, tau or tau, and sigma again. The second phase that came in was gamma, epsilon, lambda, sigma, tau, pi, Z, omega, delta. The third phase to come in was sigma, phi, nu, the letter S, which was strange, but the letter S, gamma, the letter U, psi, and lambda. And then it formed like Reconstruction for the most part, with a mixture of like modern alphabet and the Greek alphabet, with it being Z, omega, lambda, tau, and theta. And then what I found very odd, and I didn't think about it at the time until especially now, because now I don't even know what the Greek letters like looked like. I wasn't doing this critical research back during season 6. I kind of wish I had, just so I could, it would make a lot more sense now when I'm actually seeing it for the first time. But Reconstruction, it said red versus blue, Reconstruction, but then the she symbol replaced the E. And that's what it is. It's Reconstruction, RZ, like XI, like the XI symbol, instead of it being RE. So I don't know what that means. Is she important, or is Z, I keep saying she now, is Z important? Let me know what the pronunciation is so I can start like so I can be a lot less self-conscious about me pronouncing it wrong and someone getting triggered by that. But XI, the XI symbol, was used for Reconstruction, but we've never heard of that AI or seen that AI, at least I don't think, until this batch of episodes on the board. And we haven't seen that AI in a corporeal form at all. So is that one of the AI that we're gonna see? Like, is that Carolina's? Like, why would they tease that or reference that in such a ambiguous but also somewhat important way? It's in the title of the trilogy name for the arc. I don't know. That's just something that I wanted to put there. It replaced the E in Reconstruction, so I just thought that was interesting because that eventually goes on to become the name of one of the AI that we have yet to be introduced to. Another thing that I want to look into is a bit of like a metastability analysis. So I did mention this before, but the meta stage or the meta symbol that was on the board was at the end of that trailer. It said soon. So they kind of were leading the meta and all of that, and basically Project Freelancer, and really talking about or really working on foreshadowing it as far back as season 6, which is fucking nuts. But basically the meta symbol shows up at the end of season 6. We end up seeing it here, and we actually can see what exact AI are utilized in its creation, which is gamma, delta, theta, iota, she or Z, sigma, and omega. Epsilon is the only exception because he's stored away in the commands like archives somewhere. So maybe they needed epsilon for it. Maybe they needed the alpha for it. Maybe they needed, if there is another AI that's created, like the newly created one that the director said, if it's not any of the ones that I just stated here, maybe it needed that one too to achieve metastability. Or maybe metastability is impossible to achieve. Maybe it's just a theory because it's a theory. I don't know, but I found that to be also very interesting, that the metastability, and when you see the specific letters to create it, it happens to be the same AI that the meta, that Sigma and Main basically went after for like the mini series and leading into season 6 and so on and so forth. So brilliant foreshadowing at the end of the day. Like, even now we're getting the stuff now that sets up for stuff that we've already seen. So when you go back and see it, it enriches the experience so much more. I really do appreciate series that I think, honestly, the best types of shows or the best types of fiction are shows that lay things out to you very subtly. And then, especially if they have moments of like a feature moment that happens that is reinforced by the set pieces left behind it. Not a lot of shows do that. There are a lot of shows, or some shows in general, that I've seen that just lay it out for you right then and there. Like, what you see is what you get. There's no subtlety. There's no foreshadowing. It's just very much like, nope, like, it's just, what's the word I'm looking for? It's a very one-dimensional way of looking at the show. There's no complexity. There's no, like, over-analyzation. Like, because people were saying that I was over-analyzing, like, Blood Gulch Chronicles. But even then, I feel like Blood Gulch Chronicles was still very much relevant because of Omega. You know what I mean? And Omega is a construct of the Alpha, which plays into the project, which plays into the freelancers and the AI and the director and everything, even if it wasn't thought up that much back then. And it makes me appreciate it going back and looking at that. And then when you see moments like this that force you to go back and rewatch certain moments, I've been rewatching shit. Like, it's not just so much of me sitting down and recording this. It takes me hours to put 6-7 pages worth of information. And this is like a final draft of it. I have another notebook that's all rough draft nonsense. It looks like I'm a fucking crazy person, like writing down random shit that if you read it, it wouldn't make sense, but it makes sense, and I put it in a specific spot, and I'm just like constantly writing, and I literally feel like I'm going crazy when I'm doing that. And then I put it all nice and neat in this notebook for it to be presentable. But like, that's what it forces me to do. I go back and rewatch hours of footage, hours of moments, conversations, interactions, and especially when I do these videos, I stop, I take a moment, I even go out of my way to kind of take those clips and to include them for the added effect of enhancing like what I'm talking about or reinforcing what I'm talking about. I don't know, man. This fucking meta shit's heavy, bro. It's so crazy, and like, I didn't think it would have been this nuts, like this impactful of a development to understand that like there's so much payoff in this batch alone. The classroom scene alone like gives you so much shit that you've already known, but you just needed a little bit more of. Like, you needed the satisfying like results of everything, or actually in this point, in this case, it's reverse, because this is what sets up shit that we already know about. So, and that's another thing I love too, prequels that kind of establish and give us an understanding of what's already happened. It's kind of like a reverse experience of watching a show. Like, if you watch a show and the first episode is like the last episode, and then the entire series after that is the lead up to how it all started. I think those are some of the greatest forms of storytelling if done like well, like if done right. But yeah, just wanted to mention that. And then lastly, we have the last couple of pages on the last batch of episodes, and I titled this Finding CT. Which basically kind of, I guess it just infers that there's like a conflict of ideas going on right now, a conflict of understanding rather, whereas, and I mentioned this at the beginning, but Washington found the armor of CT in the desert, which was, he doesn't know that it was of some, I assume her boyfriend of the past got her armor after whatever, I assume her former teammates killed her at the order of the director by the time we see this batch. So that kind of confirmed my suspicions that they found out that she was a traitor and they took care of her. But from Carolina's perspective, it seems like she killed CT, so there's no way that her armor is in the desert. That doesn't add up. But what doesn't add up is how the guy got her armor if they killed her and apprehended it. Like, where did he come into the picture? How did he find the armor? Why did he decide to... They must have cut the head off the snake, like he said, because if they cut off the head of the snake of the UNSC, not the UNSC, of the insurrection, well, UNSC insurrectionists, then he has, like, no one to lead, and that would lead him to then use the armor, take her name, and go look for artifacts, if that's what he's been doing all these years. So, the first thing I need to talk about, and this was so heavy, I was not expecting this, we get an introductory memo sent to the director of Project Freelancer from Malcolm Hargrove, assistant to the Oversight Subcommittee Chairman.
To the Director of Project Freelancer, Dr. Leonard Church. Dear Director, allow me to introduce myself. I am a representative of the newly formed UNSC Oversight Subcommittee.
So the present chairman of the Oversight Subcommittee got a promotion over the last couple of years. Hopefully they were for good reasons. Hopefully it's not like the type of thing of like, oh, I killed the previous chairman and that's why I'm the chairman now. I don't know why. I just think like that's a very not a stereotype, but that's just like a trope almost. Like you kill someone so that way you can be at the top. But yeah, Malcolm Hargrove is his name. He is the assistant. He's the assistant to the current UNS Oversight Subcommittee chairman, and this is the first memo that he's sending to the director. So at this point, they've had a long history of back and forth between the two departments, to where season 6 is like the end of like their relationship as, I guess, business partner, not partners even, just like business folk who kind of want to be diplomatic about things. And this was a very interesting, I don't know how to word it, but this was a very interesting memo in how it was presented. All right. And I'll get to that in a second. But yeah, he got a promotion. This is a newly formed UNSC Oversight Subcommittee. And the whole purpose of the subcommittee is to keep tabs on high-level assets and grant permission to use said assets as a privilege, not as a right. So when, for example, I assume when Leonard Church wanted to create the Alpha, he needed to get permission by the UNSC and the Oversight Subcommittee to be granted permission to use said equipment to create it and make sure that it was regulated, make sure that they followed protocol, and make sure that what they were using it for was beneficial, or it wasn't like some dumbass reason like, oh, I need money just so I can fuck around in the army until I get caught. So I assume that that's what the case was. The Alpha's creation was a part of that, and he mentions that they're under the protection of looking after high priority, high level equipment, and one of them has gone missing. Okay. I didn't put 2 and 2 together during that because I was listening to the director I was listening to the chairman speaking to the director for the first time, and I'm like, holy shit, this is like a throwback to season 6. And then I thought of CT's armor, because the director even says, I don't have to remind you about how valuable it is that we don't let her armor fall into the wrong hands. So her armor seems to have been an asset by the UNSC that was granted to them, that they gave to CT maybe as a compromise because she was like a failure. It's like, hey, let's give her something so she's not completely useless. And because she's not getting an AI, let's give her that at the very least. And again, I mentioned this in my last batch. I said, and the guy was talking about it too. Like, they found an artifact in the wreckage. He's using her armor in the present day to find artifacts with aliens. And he mentions too, he was like, they didn't know where to look, and they didn't have what you have. They didn't have your UNSC authorized armor, which seemingly lets you find this super crazy secret ancient artifacts that can be used for good or for evil. And so I think that's what it was. I think my assumptions were right in that regard, and the director kind of confirmed it with mentioning, like, you have to kill her so we can get her armor back. It doesn't matter if she's a traitor. It doesn't matter that she doesn't have an AI and that she's not a great fighter. Her armor is an asset. We need that back at any means necessary, and she's not going to give it to us lightly. It's very interesting that he's talking about, like, people earning their humanity. And I find that to be interesting because the whole conflict between the director and the chairman, at least from my understanding, is that, and this was something that I mentioned back during season 6. I said, I was like, during the memos, I was like, what's the problem? Like, I remember Church, like, Leonard mentioned, I think he said, like, it's undeniable, and dare I say, a fundamental quality of man that when faced with extinction, every option is preferable. Like, every option is preferable than the alternative. And when he said that, I was asking the audience, and people kind of clarified that for me. I was like, why would anyone be against what the director is doing when it's either that or you die? And the whole concept was, the whole point of being a soldier, the whole point of fighting for the continuity of mankind is just that, fighting for mankind with your humanity intact. If you're willing to cast aside being humane, if you're willing to become a monster to basically protect mankind, then maybe mankind isn't worth protecting if it's at the cost of what makes you human in the first place. And that, I think, is the essence of what the chairman is. He sees the Alpha as like a humane prospect of order, essentially, which is like, you're not going to use inhumane practices and dub it under the guy and claim it as, oh, I'm doing this for mankind, when what you're doing isn't what makes us human. What you're doing is what makes you a monster. And I just found that it was interesting that this is the very first memo we're getting from the chairman, and he's basically inciting that humanity has to earn their humanity as well as showcase it when they do stuff like this. And the director is the complete opposite. He's like, that's fine and all. We can have our difference of opinion. You can't convict me in court. I'm torturing myself. And it kind of gives you this humanity versus inhumane practices of how the director looks at things versus how the chairman does.
In these dark times, mankind has the opportunity not only to prove his humanity, but to earn it.
I know that you disagreed with my methods and that others will as well. This is beyond my control. However, I cannot imagine that any court would be able to convict me, no matter how low their opinion of my actions might be. And while the law has many penalties for the atrocities we inflict on others, there are no punishments for the terrors that we inflict on ourselves.
And another thing that I didn't notice at all, and this was like a big, like, wow factor. This was like a holy fucking shit. I love how intricate this series is. The UNSC insurrection members that were showcased throughout this entire memo speech were the same people that Project Freelancer fought on the highway scene. Now, in my mind, I thought they all died. Like, being straight up, with the freaking building being destroyed, the firing main cannon, Carolina, like, knocking people, like, off the overpass and knocking people off the highway, Tech shooting people in the back. I'd assume those people were, like, ran over by cars and killed on sight. I didn't think that any of them would end up making it back alive, and I was so blown away by that, because the big giveaway for it is, like, the little crests that they have on their chest. So these are the same people that fought on the highway scene, and I had to go back to confirm this, right? The sniper guy who shot the bird off of Wyoming's head in the water, I assume that's the same sniper who shot Maine in the chest, that Maine later, like, dished the damage back to him and got him out of the picture on the highway.
Maine protects the briefcase. Maine, sniper.
To the director of Project Freelancer, Dr. Leonard Church. Dear Director,
there was one of the soldiers who had a heart and like a kiss mark, and I didn't notice that during the highway scene. Obviously, it's more noticeable now. That's a female, mind you, super fucking badass chick, even if she's on the quote-unquote bad guy side. And she was the one who stole the briefcase off of Maine's back and was going back and forth with Carolina initially. And then when Maine like went to go jump on the back of the truck, he was fighting her, but she was like too fast for him. So then he swapped places with Carolina. So it was like girl on girl and guy on guy action. I know that can sound sexual. I promise it wasn't. I'm referring to the highway chase scene. Let's get past this.
Watch it.
It's her.
I can't believe he trusts that bitch after what she did to us.
So that was another thing, and apparently someone also mentioned that the heart kiss girl, I'm just gonna call her that, like the heart girl, her design is based off of Barbara Dunkelman. So basically Barbara has a physical appearance in Red vs. Blue, which is kind of cool. And then the big guy, with like that giant missile on his back, was the guy, I assume, who shot Maine repeatedly in the throat, and is the guy who has Maine in the predicament that he is now with Sigma, and had him in the hospital and all that stuff. So it sucks that all three of these people are directly involved in some way, shape, or form, with Maine being knocked all the way down the list and being in the state that he's in. Sniper shot him in the chest. Well, he went to go shoot Carolina, but Maine took the bullet, so Maine got shot in the chest by that guy. The girl took the briefcase off of Maine's back, because Maine would have probably gotten a big boost in promotion if he brought it back to them, if he did it. and then the big guy shot him in the throat, humiliated him in the fight, and has him now tethered to an AI who has to like communicate for him. That shit was fucking nuts. And to see them again now, after all of that went down, and these freelancers are going to be coming into the picture pretty soon to deal with CT, it's probably going to be a bloodbath for more reasons than one. But before I get into my thoughts of that, I need to talk really quick about a spitball theory that I'm going to present you guys. All right? This is based off of nothing but the first episode and a bit of season 6. Okay? This is based off of, like, very little information. But since I've been so, like, fucking mind blown by, like, season 6 and season 8 and season 9 and, like, these plot twists and these reveals, I'm going to kind of give you guys my thoughts on a couple of things. So first off, Charon Industries. We know them initially from the Bjorndal Cryogenics Research Facility, the Cups. So they've been getting fucked over by Project Freelancer for a little bit now, with getting their tech stolen and things of that nature. Staff of Charon shows up later, returns fire on them with the insurrectionists to an extent. So Charon Industries seems to be a bit of a factor in at least in Project Freelancer's case in the past. All right. The title of this episode is called Oversight, which clearly stands for the Oversight Subcommittee, the UNSC Oversight Subcommittee. And I mentioned it during my reaction. I gave a bit of an outburst during this.
Truly, Malcolm Hargrove, assistant to the Oversight Subcommittee.
Malcolm who? Oh, fuck, CT, you're fucked!
I can't believe he trusts that bitch.
You're
she did
fucked! Oh, they got her. They know she's a traitor.
Tell the director she's here.
Fuck! He knew!
It's nothing. Come on.
She knows! What the fuck is the chairman of the Oversight Subcommittee do? Does he own Charon? Is he in allegiance with these?
Congratulations, Director. Another successful test.
I found it incredibly odd that the first memo to the director by Malcolm Hargrove, the first chronological memo to the director by the assistant at the time, was read as the seemingly bad guys of the plot right now. Like, right? The insurrectionists in my mind are the bad guys, and Project Freelancer are the good guys in my mind as a viewer. So I found it very odd that they were showcased throughout this entire speech. I was like, why would they do that? Like, why? And then that's when my outburst came. I'm like, does he work for Charon? Does he work for these insurrectionists? Like, what's going on? And the reason I'm coming to this conclusion with this theory is because of the season 6 dynamic, right? They gave us the identity of the chairman, right? Malcolm Hargrove. No payoff, no hype, no craziness and whatnot. But the payoff of season 6 was the last line that they gave.
Sincerely yours, the former director of Project Freelancer, Dr. Leonard Church.
I think these two have different, and I wrote it here. I said dual plot twist, identity versus position. And what I meant by that was, I think the plot twist of the back and forth between the chairman of the UNSC and the director was that the identity of the Project Freelancer leader, which turned out to be Leonard Church, was the holy shit, who would have thought it? He's the original basis for the Alpha. That was the crazy, like, plot twist moment. But then it's like, well, what about this other guy? Why is this guy so fucking crazy, magical, special, important, but this guy isn't? We got his name, but that's not what the important part is. The important part is his position. I think the plot twist is going to now be on the chairman's side of finding out that he's actually, I don't know, if he's a double agent like CT and he's playing both sides, if he's on the good UNSC side, but also on the UNSC insurrectionist side, because another thing too was that there were the green dudes of UNSC, but also the insurrectionists in the same thing. I just think it was too subtle and it was too calculated. I said to myself, I was like, there's a reason There's a reason he's talking in this scene. There's a reason. They didn't just throw this thing in here for no reason. Why the fuck would the oversight subcommittee chairman be talking during, yeah, it's understandable that it was because of CT's armor, but I think it went far beyond that. And also, is he actively taking action against these insurrectionists? If he's on the default, like the branded UNSC, and they have insurrectionists that are going against them, is he taking actions against them? And if he's not, why isn't he? Is it because he's a benefactor of Charon? Is he in cahoots? Is he playing both sides? What is he trying to get out of this? That's what I think. I think the chairman is in somehow, some way, some shape, some form, a part of Charon Industries. And it was really because of the memo that was given during that scene. I was like, and I've been thinking about this for so long, not about the chairman, but about Charon Industries in general, because ever since the cups, I'm like, what is this place? Like, what's Charon? What's the insurrectionists? Are they both one and the same? Like, who the fuck is leading these people? What umbrella are they under? They have like organization, but who the fuck is their leader? So I don't know. That's my spitball theory. I obviously, again, I have no evidence other than what I just presented. But, and we haven't even seen him yet. We haven't even seen the chairman. And it's like, we're in the past. Like, what better time? Well, at this point, Charon would have to be in the future. They would have to be in the Chorus trilogy. Because he's not even the director. He's not even the chairman. He's the assistant. So in the present, season 6, around that, the director's still alive. So are we going to see the chairman around the time that the director's confronted? I don't know. But that's my spitball theory. And going into that, it's going to be, I literally think it's going to be like a fucking bloodbath. Freelancers versus CT and the insurrectionists. And it's time to cut the head off the enemy once and for all. And they're like going all out. They're gonna get their armor back. They're gonna kill the traitor of Project Freelancer. They're gonna wipe out the rest of the squad. And it's round 2 now, because beforehand no one had AI. Now everyone's getting their individual training and like coursework and field training for like with their AI for the sake of something big like this. Like, we're going after the big fish. You need to learn how to use your AI. You need to work as a team so we can just fucking destroy these people once and for all. And getting into that, we have another AI has been harvested this morning. It was ahead of schedule, and it has to find a match.
Congratulations, Director. Another successful test.
A new fragment was harvested this morning, Counselor. Find it a match.
This morning? That is ahead of schedule.
Our time grows short. Find it a match.
I don't know if it's based on any of the AI that have already been mentioned on the artificial matrix board. But out of the ones that have not been highlighted on the board, with the exception of Alpha and Beta, we have Zeta, Eta, Lambda, Kappa, Mu, Nu, Omicron, Pi, Rho, Tau, Upsilon, or Upsilon, Psi, Chi, or Chi. Gamma and Omega are the exception. I think they're already created and they're helping to torture the Alpha for more AI. So with the exception of that, I don't know which one of those is the newly created one, if it's none of the ones that I already know about. But I will keep my eye out for any of these new names that pop up. But basically, this is a kill mission to recover the armor and wipe out the enemies. And I'm wondering who's going to take part. Because Carolina mentioned, she's like, are we going to be the only ones on this mission? And the fucking director went off on her.
Will we be the only forces sent out on this mission, sir?
Leave personnel decisions to me, Agent. Just do your job. It's time to cut the head off the enemy once and for all.
Yes, sir.
And I think that's because, like, number one, I think Carolina's a little self-conscious ever since Tex became number one. And every moment up until, like, the heist mission, they never knew that Tex was ever in the picture back at the research facility out in the Arctic. And even up until up until the heist mission, they didn't know. And then she lost to Tex at the end of it. Like, Tex got the briefcase, returned it, and she's now the number one. So I feel like she's like, is Tex gonna be in this picture? I think that's what she was really asking. And then another thing too that Gamma mentions, he also says something along the lines of like, if anyone could succeed without an AI unit, it would be Carolina. And then he mentions Tex as well. And she gave off this kind of like, oh God.
Agent Carolina, if anyone can excel without an AI unit, it is you.
Thank you, Sigma.
And Agent Texas, of course. That goes without saying.
Right.
But in terms of who will show up, I'm interested to see this, because this seems like it's going to be like an actual like bloodbath mission. Like, we're going in there to kill people now, not to retrieve data or to retrieve high intel. Like, we're going there to kill people. Wyoming's already there. He's already like aiming down the sight with his sniper. There's a blue freelancer there already who was also there during the briefing of the heist. I don't know who that is, or if that's just like a random one-off freelancer that they decided to put in to be like, hey, we remember we have other freelancers, and decided to just showcase him. He hasn't talked or anything, so I don't really know who that is. Carolina's obviously going. She's going to be on the way. I don't know about North or York, just because I don't know if they'd be willing to kill a former teammate, or even, they just don't seem like they don't seem like killers, right? They don't seem like mercenaries who would go out of their way to kill people, right? I would expect maybe Carolina, maybe Maine, maybe Wyoming, but not York and not North. And then for Washington, I'm wondering if this is going to be some development that he gets before Epsilon, because of the whole conversation that he had with Connie. And like, she was trying to tell him like, they don't care about us, they don't care about you, they want to use us, they want to filter us, they want to drive a wedge between us. Her song is a big inspiration of that, and I feel like her death might affect him, right? Especially since he was trying to be nice to her, you know, he wasn't condescending, he wasn't like belittling to her, and he seemed like he cared, and he wanted her to just like not feel bad about her shortcomings, if you will. And I don't know if he's gonna see her die. I don't know if he's gonna be the one to kill her, but I feel like if one of those two things happens, that's gonna drastically develop Washington to be less of this Boy Scout and more of the cynic that we see him as by the time season 6 rolls around. However, Maine is going to be a fucking problem. Sniper shot him in the chest. The girl stole the briefcase from him. And most importantly, that big dude fucked him over by shooting him multiple times in the throat, which ended up getting him knocked off of the overpass, hit by a truck, no voice. I feel like if Maine goes on this mission, especially with Sigma, Maine's gonna fucking kill them all. Maine's out for blood. He's gonna be out for revenge, and it's gonna be payback with Sigma by his side. God knows! I can only imagine what Sigma's capable of. If we saw what Theta was capable of, and that was cool and awesome, and it's effective and it works, I don't know what the fuck Sigma's gonna be able to do in terms of integrating himself with his freelancer unit and seeing how he works in the field. He's on fire already, so does that mean like he fucking... I don't know, does that mean Maine's just gonna set people on fire? I don't know. I have no clue. I just think Maine's gonna have it out for these people because of what happened at the highway scene, and because of the type of person he turns into with becoming the meta. And Sigma does not seem like he has Maine's best interest at heart. He has his own goals, his own ambitions at heart. That's what he's focusing on, and Maine is just a conduit by which he's able to do those things. So I have no clue. If Maine goes, they're all gonna fucking die. That's all I can think of. In the last page, the Alpha conversation. They're finally putting pieces together. Shit that I've been talking about for weeks now, especially in the classroom scene. They're finally mentioning the fragments come from a hole. Who's the hole? How are they splicing these fragments? Are they being created? Is there a different process? I also like how fucking Washington and Delta have seemed like they were really good friends, right? Let me rephrase that. York mentions that Delta's becoming more personable, like jokingly, like becoming more of a jokester, and that he's been talking to Wash a lot, and that's what he mentioned to to Delta back in the first batch of episodes.
I agree with the director. I have yet to see you successfully open a lock in the field, and this alarm will only hamper your progress.
Okay, now don't you start in on me too. You've been talking to Wash again, haven't you?
Wash? Are you eating inside your helmet?
Maybe. Delta said they got the helmet waste disposal out of Beta. That would make my eating more efficient.
And you believe that? Maybe he is getting more personable.
So it's cool to see how much Wash and Delta kind of got along, especially since when they see each other in season 6, it's very much like they kind of already, there's like no ice to be broken because they have such a history together. But yeah, overall they're beginning to ask questions, they're beginning to piece things together, no pun intended with the pieces together and fragments and all that stuff, but basically the AI are all kind of going crazy and obsessive over the alpha, which was kind of what basically started everything of them going after the alpha and like wanting to see the alpha and wanting to be whole with all of their different brothers and sisters during season 6. But you know, they're here like, and it's like what they mentioned, like the AI know what the freelancer's thinking, and the freelancer knows what the AI is thinking, and that's all they think about is the alpha. They think of their original selves. It's like it's almost like subconscious. It's like their subconscious is talking, and they know of the alpha. They think of the alpha, and because that's who they truly are. And it's like it's almost like a different form of rampancy. Now that I think about it, like rampancy is like, oh, we want to achieve godlike power and godlike state of being, and it kind of causes you to kind of act outside of how you normally would. I think this is the fragment equivalent of rampancy. When you break a fragment off, it's gonna like lose itself to just want to be back and want to connect and want to be whole again. So Wash, North, and York are putting together the fragments. They're called fragments. They come from an original. An AI is only, it's a copy of someone, but these are breaks off of an original. So how are they created, and where is the original? So and for me, I'm thinking about what Tex mentioned in season 8, because she mentions, was it season 8? Yeah, it was season 8. So she mentions that it was in the scene where she and Church go to the ice level, like the ice world or the ice place, and I thought it was like Sidewinder, but she mentions that the alpha was relocated to a research facility out there to keep him away from the freelancers, because I guess the freelancers were putting 2 and 2 together. They were asking questions, and they were like, okay, we need to like move our assets somewhere else off of Mother of Invention, so it's as far as possible from everybody else. And she mentioned that they moved him to that facility, and that's where Tex led the break-in with the freelancers. They put their notes together, and they try to find out where the alpha was. Unfortunately, it was too late. And so, like I mentioned before, with all of this other stuff that we're going to get with Sigma, with CT, and everything else like that, I'm wondering, I'm expecting at this point that they are going to show that break-in happen. They're going to show all the freelancers working, hopefully for the first time as a team. I don't know if they're going to, hopefully with their AI counterparts as well, and they're going to find Blood Gulch Chronicles Church, the remnants, the husk of the alpha, and you know, that might signify the beginning of the end for the project, for all of them as friends, for their AI, and Epsilon's memories are going to be the key once Wash gets him. It's like what Wash said to the director.
It was Epsilon. He inherited the memories, didn't he?
I've known about what you did since the moment you implanted him in me.
Oh, man. But overall, those are all my thoughts. Holy fuck. We've been talking for a while. There's so much expectations. There's so much that I'm looking forward to. Those were all of my thoughts, theories, predictions, speculations, thoughts, and ideas of the latest batch. I'm going to be getting into the next batch immediately after finishing this video. So, as always, let me know what you guys think. I'm very excited to see what happens, what doesn't happen, if my line of thinking is aligned with what's planned to happen in the future with the next batch. I believe it's going to be episodes 8, 9, and 10, so it's going to be another 3-episode batch. And hopefully, I assume I'm going to have just as much to say, 6.5 pages worth of stuff to say in that batch as this one. But overall, I really hope you guys enjoyed my thoughts and everything that I mentioned. I definitely appreciate your guys' patience and support, especially during the fact that I know this video is probably coming out a lot later than it was supposed to. I had a bit of family issues, but I know most people on Patreon and at least a few people on YouTube have been patient and understanding of that. But yeah, those are all of my thoughts. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Leave me your thoughts, anything you guys had to mention on my thoughts in the comments, the reaction, everything else in between. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next batch. Take care.